adventures of Sam Spade, detective.
To Thelma Darling.
Last name, Sam?
Roger.
Thelma Roger.
Darling!
I only asked, Sam.
Let's get on with it.
Yes, Sam, I'm sorry. From Samuel Spade, license number 1375596. Subject?
Subject, the Quarter Eagle caper. Dear Thelma Darling.
Sam.
Yes, sir?
Isn't that redundant?
Again?
The salutation, Sam. Shouldn't it be Dear Thelma or Thelma Darling, but not both?
Now, get this, F. It's real deep. Her name is Thelma Darling.
I have that, dear. Thelma Roger.
Darling, it's a name. Her father was a darling before her.
Oh, really, Sam? Can't you take a joke?
On the egg type, you should taste the label. Grade AA, fresh. Dear Thelma Darling. I'm stubborn. Not all of this will be news to you. The part that is will be bad news. The start of it was not a quarter eagle, but a bald eagle. He swooped in through the door of my office, landed in front of my desk, perched on the edge of a chair, and said...
My name is Eagle, Mr. Spade. Junius J. Eagle. My card.
Uh-huh. Eagle Vending Machine Company, huh?
They call me the Gumball King. I'm proud of it. Care to join me in a ball, sir?
Not while I'm on duty.
Ah, that's very good. Our new avocado flavor. Yes, I've kept the Bay Area chewing for 20 years. And I will not be swerved from my purpose.
Bully.
I intend to fight them tooth and nail. Hammer and tongs. To the last ditch.
Bravo.
But I'll need help. That's why I've come to you. My competitors, Mr. Spade, are leaving no stone unturned in their contemptible campaign to drive me out of business.
Uh-huh.
Now they've resorted to outright sabotage. In short, they have hired hoodlums to destroy my gumball machines. They've already smashed 11, and they won't be content until they've demolished my entire equipment.
Sounds like a police case to me, Mr. Eagle.
No, I've been to the police. No, they don't understand my problem. Gave me a lot of double talk about juvenile delinquents. Ha, my foot. Cutthroat competition.
You're sure of that?
Well, what would you think? If theft were their motive, they most certainly would steal the pennies from the machines, but what do they take? My gumballs. And why do they do that?
I'll buy it.
Oh, well, by all means. Oh, here, try this. It's our bestseller in Chinatown. We call it Subgum.
Better not. I have to drive later.
No, you don't. Now, I had the foresight to buy up a 3-year supply of chewing gum at non-inflation prices.
So I see.
Well, you can see with what thoroughness they encompass my ruination. They are not only smashing my machines, they're making off with my gum.
And you want me to try and stop them?
No, I do not. No. I want you to catch them in the act and find out who is paying them.
Well, okay, Mr. Eagle. I'll see what I can do.
Good. Now, in this envelope is a list of my machines and their exact locations, together with a check for your retainer.
Thank you, Mr. Eagle. I'll keep in touch with you. Mr. Eagle, I meant to ask you, how many of these gum machines do you operate here in town?
300.
Mm-hmm.
And guard them well.
300? 300 nuts.
300 nuts, Sam?
No, 300 gums. Gumball machines.
Sam, isn't it wonderful you took this job? I mean, because of my penny card.
I'm sorry if I wasn't listening.
My penny card, Sam. My new one, that is. I've already completed my Lincoln series, and now I'm collecting Indian heads.
Scalps?
No, Sam, pennies. You see, this is the card. And these little slots you see right there, that's where you put the pennies. And they're classified according to the date and the mint where they're manufactured. Now, you see, Sam, where the little S is on these? Now, that's for the San Francisco mint. And the D, that's for Denver.
Figures.
And the ones with nothing, that's for Washington, D.C.
Yeah, well, it's a very nice hobby. Pardon me. 300 gumball machines.
You see, that's what I had in mind, Sam. All those pennies. Indian head pennies are scarce, Sam. You have to go through a lot of pennies to find even one. Honestly, sometimes when I go past one of those penny machines, that's all I can do. Oh.
F, this is all right between you and me, but don't ever mention your hobby to Mr. Eagle.
No, I won't.
Riddle me this, sweetheart. How does one detective guard 300 gumball machines scattered all over the city?
Well, if they're going to smash all of them, you could just pick out one in the middle and somewhere and wait.
No good. If it's an organized plan of sabotage, there might be some pattern. You seem to have given this some thought, though, Effie. How would you pick them?
In the busy places where they'd have more pennies.
But they're not after the pennies. They take the gum.
Well, then maybe the quiet sections where they don't sell much gum.
Well, they've knocked over 11 so far, here, there, and everywhere. Busy spots, dead spots. No pattern at all. You know, Effie, maybe I've bitten off more than I can chew. I wasn't sold on Mr. Eagle's theory that the caper was organized sabotage, but I decided to test it out anyway. I learned the operation did follow a pattern, unless it was coincidence that the 11 machines knocked over the previous night were the same 11 machines that had been refilled that afternoon. I checked with the Eagle Company's maintenance man and learned that only 5 had been refilled today. I picked the one that looked like the easiest to knock over. It was the one in the doorway of a darkened loft building near the Siemens Hiring Hall on Drum Street. At 9 p.m., I strolled down there. The block was deserted. I took a plant in the adjacent doorway and talked to myself until just before midnight. Then I shut up. My heart skipped a beat as she passed under the light. Red hair. My secretary? Then I noticed how she was dressed. Not on the salary I paid her. She paused before the gum machine, opened a large handbag, stripped off her long black gloves, dropped them in her purse, and took out a small Boy Scout-type hatchet. Went at it with the enthusiasm of Carrie Nation busting up a saloon. I edged around the doorway as she bent over the mess of pennies and gumballs at her feet. When she reached out her hand, I took one more step, and that was all. She was up on her feet facing me, and I saw that hatchet sailing through the air straight at me. Hey!
Now see what you've done.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I won't let it happen again, I hope.
Well, don't just stand there. Let's get out of here. That noise, it'll bring the police down on us.
Yeah, you're right. No, not that way. The alley. And that's how I met you, Thelma, darling. Pausing only to pick up an Indian head penny for luck, I escorted you through the alley to Washington, up Washington to Salon, jogged through Front Street, and followed that to Market, where we entered the Happy Hour Bar and Grill by way of the kitchen. You proceeded unfalteringly to the darkest booth. We sat down and caught our breath. You ordered a pirate's dream. By the way, I did get that recipe. Lime juice, grenadine, passion fruit, a sprig of mint, and 6 jiggers of rum. After 2 swallows, I heard myself saying, now aren't you ashamed of yourself?
But, Sam, why should I be? After what I've been through, I think I deserve a drink.
I didn't mean that. I meant throwing that hatchet at me.
I thought you were Merle.
Who's Merle?
Why, he works for Mr. Chislehurst.
Yeah, that figures. Now tell me who Mr. Chislehurst is. Not who he works for, just who he is.
He was acting as my agent for the sale of the pearl.
Well, Natch. Look, please, don't make me say what pearl.
It's called the Black Pearl of Galila Bay. My brother brought it back from the South Pacific when he was in the war.
Oh, yes.
When he went to prison, he gave it to me to keep for him.
So you decided to sell it?
I had no choice. I needed the money desperately to finance his appeal. It comes up next week.
Mm-hmm.
If I don't get that pearl back, I don't know what I'll do. You've got to help me.
What makes you think it's in a gumball machine?
Mr. Chislehurst took the pearl to show to a man named Junius Eagle, and that's when it disappeared. Mr. Eagle decided not to buy. And when Mr. Chislehurst returned to the hotel...
Eagle had found the pearl and substituted a ball of blackjack gum. Then what?
Mr. Chislehurst had Merle follow him. Nothing happened the first 2 days. But day before yesterday, he followed him to his warehouse and saw him drop a single ball of gum into a barrel of them that was waiting to be loaded onto a truck. The pearl must have been hidden in it. Why else would he do a thing like that?
He would put a valuable pearl in a machine where anybody could buy it for a penny.
I suppose it'd be safe for a few days. I don't know how these machines work. Well, now you know why I had to break those machines.
Nuh-uh.
You don't believe me?
Mm-mm.
Well, what are you going to do?
Check the psycho wards and find out which one you escaped from.
Hello?
Mr. Eagle?
Speaking.
Spade.
Oh, yeah, I just got in. I've been out making my monthly collection.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, I want to talk to you. You're falling down on my job. Another of my machines.
Yeah, I know. Drum Street. I nailed the hoodlum.
Ah. Who's he working for?
Let me ask you one. Did a man named Chiselhurst ever try to sell you a black pearl? Hello, you still on the line? You stopped chewing.
Yes. I think you better come over to my house. Right away.
Hello. Nuts. When I came out of the phone booth, I wasn't surprised to find that you had flown the coop, darling, if I may call you by your last name. But I was surprised at what I found at my client's house. I rang the front doorbell and waited. Nothing happened. Then, through the glass door, I saw a man rush out on the landing at the top of the stairs. He half ran, half stumbled down a long flight to the entrance hall, yanked open the door, and tried to shove past me. I grabbed him.
Get out of my way.
Wait a minute.
Let go. I got to get a doctor.
You're bleeding.
No, not me. I've got to get a doctor.
Why don't you phone?
They ripped the wires out now. Let go or it'll be your fault if he dies.
I memorized his mug, lifted his wallet as we unclinched, and let him go. On the way upstairs, I checked his ID cards. Higgins, Morris L., employer, Eagle Vending Machine Company, occupation, maintenance supervisor. On the floor of a room at the top of the stairs was quite a sight. The floor of the room was covered almost completely with pennies. In the middle of it, sprawled forward like a miser who had been attacked while counting his hoard, was Junius J. Eagle. The wound in the back of his neck could have been caused by a small hatchet. There was a bookkeeper's account sheet open across the desk, and scrawled across the neat rows of figures there were 3 words: spade, quarter, and eagle.
The United States Armed Forces Radio Service is presenting the weekly adventure of Dashiell Hammett's famous private detective, Sam Spade. And now, back to the Quarter Eagle Caper. Tonight's adventure with Sam Spade.
That you, Higgins?
Yeah.
Save yourself the trip upstairs. There's nothing you can do for him.
Oh, dead, huh?
Yeah.
Well, I guess he won't need that doctor I called.
We can use one anyway. Did you tell the Doc Eagle had been stabbed?
Yeah, sure I did.
Yeah, well, that means the law will come with him or ahead of him.
But I don't get it. He must have been killed for the money, but why didn't they take the pennies?
They should have. It'd look better for you if they had.
You're that detective he hired, huh?
That's right. Now, look, Higgins, we haven't got much time. If you want to find out who killed your boss, spill everything you know to me now, before the cops get here. Because they're going to hold you, and they'll hold me, too, if they find me here.
But I don't know a thing, Spade. I just found him like that.
How did you get in the house?
I have a key. He gave me one, so when I came here to pick up the pennies, he wouldn't have to come all the way down to let me in.
For now, tell the cops the door was open. Did he always collect the pennies from the machines himself?
Yeah. He was a coin collector as a hobby. He liked to go through them and save out the odd ones.
You always pick up the money at 1 in the a.m.?
Oh, no. No, he called me tonight a little past midnight, and he asked me to come right over. Hey, look, you got to believe that.
I do. He said the same thing to me. What do you know about a man named Chiselhurst?
Hey, wait a minute. That's the name of the guy that ran into my truck yesterday coming down the California incline near Grant. He slammed right into the rear of my truck. I tangled with his chauffeur, some punk kid.
Named Merle?
Yes, that's what they called him. And there was a dame in the car, too, a redhead.
Any report on the accident?
No, the cop took it down on the beat there. There wasn't no damage.
Sounds like we haven't got much more time here.
Oh.
What exactly happened the night the first gum machine on your route was smashed up? Come on.
Well, first off, I went to a bowling alley on Turk Street and removed our machine there. It was discontinued.
Wait a minute. Where did you take it? Back to the shop?
Oh, wait a second. I got it here in my book.
Come on.
All right, I'm hurrying. Here it is, 11864.
Mm-hmm.
No, I exchanged it for an out of order down on Drum Street.
Did you leave the pennies in it?
Oh, sure. They only get collected once a month.
How much gum was in it?
About half full. I didn't refill it until today.
Yeah. What's your system on the refill operation?
Well, I carry about 4 extra machines in the truck. When I go to fill a machine, I take one of the extras already filled out of the truck and trade for the empty.
Yeah.
Then I fill the empty one in the truck, and that saves me from carrying the bag around. Now, is there anything else I can tell you?
Yeah.
Huh?
Does Quarter Eagle mean anything to you?
No.
Okay, now where's the back door?
Out here.
That Quarter Eagle. What was it? Was it a wrestling hole like the Half Nelson? I thought of asking Effie, but I was afraid she'd know. I was sure that if I could find Chiselhurst, I could get all the answers at once. That collision between his car and the rear end of Higgins' truck was a good lead in more ways than one. It meant that at least part of your story, darling, was true. But you neglected to tell me that you, Chiselhurst, and Merle had been tailing Higgins' appointed rounds of the gumball machine. I checked the police report on the accident. The car was registered in Great Britain. The report said transient, no local address, and so to bed. I dreamed it was next Thanksgiving, and I was eating a roast of quarter eagle. Then it turned into crow.
Good morning, sir. Do you wish to place a classified ad?
Good morning to you, madam. Indeed, I do.
Kindly write it on this blank.
Kindly read it off this blank.
Quarter eagle. Interested parties apply Sam Spade. Sutter 37596.
That's right.
That's 9 words, sir. I'll have to charge you for 3 lines anyway. Is there anything you'd like to add?
Yes, but it's not fit to print. Barney's Beanery.
Mr. Spade?
Yeah.
You got it for sale, the quarter eagle?
Who's speaking?
I am speaking. Sergei Zacharias.
Zacharias.
You are numismatist?
No, this is Mr. Spade himself. Look, I'd like to talk to you personally. Where can I reach you?
Oh, I am by my shop, 2 doors from Belvedere Coffee Shop on O'Farrell Street.
Okay, Mr. Zacharias, I'll be right over.
Talk to you.
Why didn't you do more talking last night? My client might be alive if you had.
Oh, it's terrible. But how could I have known?
You knew about the quarter eagle. Why did you spin that yarn about the pearl?
How did you find out about it?
Dead men sometimes do tell tales.
Surely you don't think that I had anything to do with that?
He was only hacked to death with a hatchet like the one you threw at me. That makes you look fine.
All right, I killed him, if that'll make you listen to me. Sam, don't go into that shop.
Please, it's
a
new
trap.
soup.
You don't know that man Zacharias. He's the cause of all our troubles.
You mean he sold you that hatchet?
Sam, please!
Quit clawing me. Let go.
I won't allow you to go in there. I won't.
Wait a minute. What's going on here? What's the occasion of the squabble? Oh, well, no, it's Mr. Spade.
Yeah, Clancy, this dame here just tried to pick my pocket.
Ah, pickpocket, is it? Glory be, and such a pretty one, too.
Never mind that, Clancy. Just have it locked up. I'll be down later to preferred charges.
There, come on.
Hello? Anybody home?
Okay, chums. Just keep on walking. Straight through the back room. One move and I rip you wide open.
Yeah, you better not, Merle. Your boss might not like that.
Smart guy. Knows everybody's name.
Ah, my dear sir. A most propitious meeting. You've brought the quarter eagle?
Where's Zacharias?
He's resting at the moment in yonder closet. Oh, no, not dead. Merely under restraint. Bound and gagged. A necessary precaution. Well, shall we talk turkey, or rather, eagle?
Tell your punk to take that knife out of my ribs.
Who's a punk?
Now, Merle. There's been quite enough violence.
Check. I think I'll take that knife. Leave it there. Now, sit down.
Merle. Oh, headstrong boy. Now, as to the quarter eagle. I'm willing to pay a reasonable reward for its recovery. But first I must tell you that Miss Darling, for whom I'm acting as agent for the sale of the coin, is indeed the legal owner, despite anything Mr. Zacharias may have told you to the contrary. What would you say to $500?
I would say no dice.
1,000?
I would say I'm still listening.
Sir, you seem to exaggerate the value of that tiny gold piece.
It was worth one human life to somebody. That sounds like more than $1,000 to me.
You may find the market valuation of that particular mintage of the quarter eagle in my coin catalog, $10,000. But, sir, that valuation is based upon the mistaken belief that there were only 2 in existence. It was while rummaging in her grandmother's attic that Miss Darling came upon a third. When she brought it to me, I could scarcely credit it. It was matter of official record that 2 specimens had been stamped out when the die broke. And then it came to me. There must have been a third. Namely, the coin which was in that rude stamping press when the die broke. Closer examination of the quarter eagle, now in your possession, revealed certain markings.
Yeah.
Some defective feathers in the war bonnet on the obverse. And a cleavage in the numeral 4 of the date, 1841.
Yeah, all right. So how much is it worth?
Well, as I say, the price last paid was $10,000. I think we may safely assume it would bring several times that amount in today's market. But only, mind you, if but 2 specimens, not 3, are in existence.
So you decided it would be more profitable to clam up about it and see what the owners of the other 2 coins would pay to keep this one off the market.
Precisely, sir.
How did it get in that gum machine?
therein lies the tale.
Keep it short, will you? I'm getting hungry.
Well, sir, I brought the quarter eagle to Mr. Zacharias.
Yeah.
Who was acting as agent for the owner of the other 2 coins. An Australian sheep herder, I believe. Retired now.
Yes, I'm glad.
Well, not to put too fine a point on it, Mr. Zacharias' offer was so poor that I took umbrage.
Oh, you didn't?
I gave him a caning and left the premises.
Really?
But I'd gone no farther than half a league up Turk Street when I became aware that 2 ruffians were skulking at my heels.
No.
Sent, I had no doubt, by Mr. Zacharias to rob me of the quarter eagle.
Egad, sir.
Precisely. Knowing full well that they would not dare to strike in a populous, well-lighted resort,
yes.
I entered a bowling alley at the corner of Hyde Street. No pun intended.
Thank you for that, sir.
But there upon the wall I spied a penny vending machine, and the word eagle caught my eye. Association of ideas, no doubt.
No doubt.
But that, sir, is how I came to put the quarter eagle into Mr. Eagle's gum machine.
Yes, I think I can take it from there. When you went back, the machine had been taken out by the Eagle Company's maintenance man, right?
Not quite. I caught him in the very act of removing the machine and followed him out of the building.
Yeah, but then you lost track of the machine. I found out why. Never mind that now. What I want to know is who followed Mr. Eagle home the night he was killed?
I'd rather not say.
Then all bids are off.
One moment, Mr. Spade.
Yeah?
Am I to infer that your price for the quarter eagle necessarily includes bringing the murderer to justice?
Just that, Mr. Chislehurst.
Well, I suppose there's nothing for it but to make the supreme sacrifice. Merle.
Me? You double-crossing pig?
Now, Merle, you know perfectly well you did away with poor Mr. Eagle.
Shut up! I'll cut you to pieces.
Gross insubordination. You deliberately exceeded your instructions. I wanted you to apply only sufficient violence to recover the coin. Instead, you seized the opportunity to satisfy your nauseating bloodlust. Really, Merle?
Cut you to pieces. I'll cut you to pieces.
All right, drop the shiv, Merle. Knife-happy punk.
Egad, that was a near thing, sir. The base ingratitude of that boy. Oh, well, what's done is done. When may I expect delivery of the quarter eagle?
I didn't answer him. To cover my embarrassment, I gagged him, manacled him to Merle, and delivered the package marked 1 murderer, 1 accessory to the dumbfounded minions of the law. And that, Thelma, darling, I regret to inform you, is still the crop. After I'd sprung you from the pokey, I got hold of Higgins, and we went through every coin out of every Eagle gumball machine in the city of San Francisco. It couldn't happen, but it did. Your quarter eagle is, shall we say, no place. Period. End of report.
Sam, I'm disappointed in you.
Well, so am I, sweetheart.
But I'll forgive you if you found even 1 Indian head penny from my penny card.
Yeah, just 1 from that machine on Drum Street.
Oh, Sam.
There you are, sweetheart.
Oh, thank you. And it's an old one.
And no older than I feel. Go type that up.
It's counterfeit.
Are you sure?
It's joke money. It says $2.50. You see where it should say 1 cent? $2.50.
Let me see that. $2.50. If an eagle is a $10 gold piece, what is a $2.50 gold piece?
Oh, now, let me see. $5 would be half. Sam.
Right. A quarter eagle. Yep, that's just dirt on it, see? It's gold, really.
Oh, look at it shine.
Like the stars in your eyes, sweetheart.
Oh, you darling. Good night, Sam.
Good night, sweetheart.
The Adventures of Sam Spade, Dashiell Hammett's famous private detective, are produced and directed by William Spear. Sam Spade is played by Howard Duff. Lorene Tuttle is Effie. This is the United States Armed Forces Radio Service, the voice of information and education.
13, with the star of Paramount Pictures, Alan Ladd, as Dan Holliday.
Box 13. Box 13. Box 13. Box 13.
He looked deeply into her eyes, which reflected his mood like twin lakes of azure blue. Azure blue. Why does a woman always have to have azure eyes? Why couldn't they be fire engine red? As his muscular arms tightened around her fragile... Susie.
Oh, Mr. Holliday, I'm not fragile, but I'm sure scared. Somebody's been following me.
With those legs? Why not?
I was petrified, afraid to look back even. His footsteps kept going click, cluck, click, cluck, real sinister-like. Oh, I bet that's him now.
Mr. Click-Cluck?
Oh, Mr. Holliday, he followed me all the way from box 13.
And now, Box 13, starring Alan Ladd as Dan Holliday.
Well, this is a brand new twist. Besides a message from Box 13, Susie has brought a mysterious caller. Somebody who wants in, but definitely.
Don't answer it, Mr. Holliday.
No, Susie. You didn't see this person, huh?
No, I just felt him following me like a phantom, except his heels went click, cluck, click, cluck. Oh.
That doesn't sound so dangerous. Let's take a chance. Come in.
Oh. Silly me. I ought to be ashamed for being such a fraidy cat. Look who it is.
Well, Susie, who is it?
I don't know. Who are you, mister?
My name is George Flitt. I'm a detective. And you're Dan Holliday, the writer. It's on the door.
A detective, huh?
Why, he isn't any bigger than me.
But I have nerves of steel and the heart of a lion.
Oh, I see. And what brings you here, Mr. Flitt?
Well...
Nerves of steel. Heart of a lion.
That was no fair, girlie. You took me by surprise.
Susie. Now, Mr. Flitt.
Why don't you open the envelope I put in box 13?
Here it is, Mr. Holliday.
Oh, thanks.
Open it. I'm all gooselumps.
Okay. Well, what do you know?
Why, there's nothing written on the paper.
How about that, Flitt?
See how clever I am? I put that envelope in box 13 as bait.
As bait?
Yes, I knew it would lead me to the person who put the ad in the Star Times. Adventure wanted. Will go any place and do anything.
Very clever, Mr. Flitt.
Oh, what made your footsteps go click, cluck, click, cluck?
Oh, that. I lost the metal cleat off of one of my heels.
Oh.
Well, now that you've discovered me, Mr. Flitt, what?
Mr. Holliday, I'd say you're just the man for the job.
Job?
Something exciting, you hope, huh, Mr. Holliday?
I'd handle it myself, only I'm so tiny. Besides, I've done mostly divorce work. Just the right height for keyholes.
But about the job?
Well, I'm coming to that. Mr. Gilbert Bolton sent me $50 just to attend the party tonight.
$50? I should have been a detective.
Oh, you can be. I'll split with you if you'll go to the affair in my place as me.
I got the money. What's the catch?
Oh, there's really no catch. Only thing Mr. Bolton said, what there might be a little, bloodshed.
Well, this holiday is the wackiest situation yet from good old Box 13. Yes, Holiday, you must be hard up for story ideas. Hard up for brains, too. Otherwise, why are you riding with George Flitt, detective, in his hot rod jalopy? Destination, bloodshed. And you've never met this Bolton who's having the party?
No, but he phoned and explained that the party is going to be at his nephew's place, Kenneth Bolton.
Kenneth, huh? What about the bloodshed?
Well, as I understand it, Kenneth's father, that is, Gilbert Bolton's brother, committed suicide not so long ago.
Oh.
Gilbert said the boy is suffering from neurasthenia, I think he said.
Psychoneurotic, huh?
Yes. On account of the way his father died, Gilbert's afraid the boy may take his own life tonight.
Why tonight especially?
Well, it seems that Kenneth drinks a lot at these parties and gets depressed.
And my job is...
to see that he doesn't commit suicide tonight.
I've looked forward to more pleasant evenings.
I think that's the place up ahead with all the lights on.
Yeah, that's the address you mentioned. We must be about 15 miles from town.
14 7/10 by my speedometer.
Well, Flint, I may as well take off. What are you going to do?
Oh, I'll sit here in my car and listen to the radio, sort of keep my eye on things from the outside.
Good idea. See you later, then. Here we go again, Holiday. Oops, the name's George Flint, detective. Remember? Beyond this door, who knows? But it's a beautiful house, a beautiful night, and a beautiful girl.
Good evening.
Oh, good evening. I'm looking for Mr. Gilbert Bolton.
Won't you come in? And you are?
George Flint.
You say you're George Flint?
That's right.
I'm Rita Martin.
How do you do?
Now, let's go in and find Gilbert Bolton, Mr. Flint.
Oh, Holiday, here's a jungle cat. A vampire right of Terry and the Pirates. That jet black hair, those heavy-lidded eyes, that glistening crimson mouth. And something else. Yes, heavy, cloying, sensuous. A perfume such as you've never known before. That's something to remember this Rita Martin by. Mm-hmm.
Oh, there you are. Oh, Gilbert.
Yes, Rita.
Gilbert Bolton. This is George Flint.
George. How do you do, Mr. Flint?
Mr. Bolton?
If you'll excuse me, gentlemen, I'll see you all a bit later.
So, you're George Flint, the detective?
Yes, that's right.
Your voice seemed, well, different over the phone.
Well, you know detectives. Many disguises, many voices. Got to keep them confused, you know.
Somehow I pictured you differently.
Oh?
Well, no matter. You know why you're here.
Yes, to keep my eye on your nephew, Kenneth Bolton.
More than that, to keep him from chilling himself.
The way this man looks at you, Holiday. So cool, so calculating. With piercing eyes that thud against the back of your skull. He could be one of two men. A man of distinction or a man of extinction. Okay, Mr. Bolton, I'll keep your nephew alive.
That's your job.
Well, what makes you think the boy wants to commit suicide?
Well, since his father, my brother, took his life, Kenneth has been extremely upset.
It's only natural, Mr. Bolton.
I know, but I've heard Kenneth threaten suicide, and it's got me worried.
Anyone else heard him?
Yes, Miss Martin.
Anyone else?
What do you mean, anyone else?
I just wondered if anyone else had heard him make these threats.
I really wouldn't know. It's enough that Rita and I know about it.
How does Rita figure in this picture?
Aren't you being a bit presumptuous, Mr. Flint?
A detective likes to know these things.
Miss Martin is an old friend of the family. Oh, there's Kenneth now. I'll bring him over.
Just as Gilbert Bolton passed me, there was something familiar about him. What was it? Who was it? Come on, think, Holiday. It may be an important clue. But here they come. The man of extinction and a typical boy from Princeton or Yale or Harvard.
George Flint, my nephew, Kenneth Bolton.
Glad to meet you.
How do you do? Enjoying yourself, Mr. Flint?
Very much. How about you?
Oh, so. These parties get to be a bore, you know.
Kenneth hasn't been quite himself since the tragedy.
Must you always bring that up, Uncle?
But you know you've been terribly upset, Kenneth.
So I've been upset. Why talk about it?
Oh, Mr. Flint.
Yes?
Will you come with me for a moment?
Oh, why, sure.
It's so close in here that I thought a breath of air.
It suits me.
In the garden.
The garden it is. Nice. A moon, too.
Mm-hmm. Lovely, lovely night. Ah, the scent of those flowers. Exquisite, isn't it?
Uh-huh. But not to compare with your perfume.
You noticed it?
Yes, it was so unusual.
It's called Whispering Gown.
Whispering Gown?
I like the name.
Say.
Yes?
I know where they got that name.
Oh?
From Cyrano de Bergerac. The passage where he describes Roxanne. Across my life, one whispering silken gown.
That was lovely. You're quite literary, aren't you, Mr. Flint?
Well, yes and no.
Just what do you do?
Gilbert Bolton didn't tell you?
No, but let's sit on this bench and you tell me all about yourself.
As you come close to her, you get another whiff of... And suddenly you've got it. That's what bothered you about Gilbert Bolton. Her perfume rubbed off on him. It isn't an old friend of the family. She's young and a close friend of Gilbert Bolton's. She's brought you out here for a reason.
Well, aren't you going to sit down?
Oh, I sure, but just a minute. I want to borrow some cigarettes.
I've got plenty of cigarettes.
I'll be right back. Something about this whole setup is as phony as a China egg. And as the crooks in your story say, better case the joint before you go inside. There's a window. Just pull the bushes back. Let's take a gander. Well, everything looks on the up and up. Kenneth with a drink on the table beside him, and there's his uncle coming up. He set another full drink right beside Kenneth. Hey, what else is he doing? You'd better get in there, Holiday, and fast. Mind if I join you, gentlemen?
Well, not at all, not at all.
You appeared quite suddenly.
Care for a drink, Mr. Flitt? Here, I haven't touched this one.
No, let me fix Mr. Flitt a fresh drink.
I think I'll just have one of these hors d'oeuvres.
Here, what's it? My drink.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Flitt, you awkward idiot. Oh, excuse me.
Yes, Uncle. Accidents will happen. I didn't really feel like another drink. It was your idea, remember?
Well, Mr. Flett, were you able to borrow some cigarettes?
I was ambushed by hors d'oeuvres.
Glad you're here, Rita. I have a proposal to make.
Yes?
What say we all run up to my penthouse for a while?
Oh, sounds good. What do you say, Mr. Flint?
Fine.
I think a change of scenery would be nice.
Well, you'll enjoy the view overlooking Green Hill Park from the penthouse, Mr. Flint.
Oh, good. What's the address?
Tell you what, Mr. Flitt. Rita, Kenneth, and myself will go ahead in my car.
Then you can follow us in yours.
Well, maybe I'd better go with Mr. Flint to keep him company.
No, I'd like you with me, Kenneth. There's something I want to discuss with you. Important.
Well, perhaps I should have the address in case I lose you.
That won't be necessary. Just follow me.
Of course, Holiday, you could be wrong, but it looks like Gilbert Bolton isn't too anxious to have you find his penthouse. But you're a suspicious lad, Holiday. You've created so many diabolical characters for so many fiendish plots. Maybe you've become a little touched. Time's a wasting, Holiday. Get to a phone. There it is, end of the hallway. Now, if Mac's on duty in the morgue of the Star-Times, we'll ask a few questions.
Star-Times reference room.
Hello, Mac. This is Dan Holiday.
Ah, Danny. What can I do you for?
Say, you got anything on the Bolton suicide?
Just filed those clips away yesterday. And even if this is a clips joint, I won't charge you a penny. Clips joint. You get it, Dan?
Yeah, I get it. What about Bolton?
Poisoned himself. Left all his dough to his son, name of Kenneth.
Anything else?
Well, there was something about Bolton's brother, Gilbert. He sort of taken over and helping the boy. It was pretty broke up. Hey, Dan. Hey, did you hang up?
No, but someone did. Someone was listening on another extension. Hey, this is the fastest hot rod I've ever driven. We're keeping right up with the Bolton. And he's doing 70.
Wait until you shift into high gear. Where are we going?
To a penthouse, I hope. Gilbert Bolton's.
What happened at the party?
Oh, Rita Martin tried to get me into the garden, and I got suspicious.
Trying to keep you away from your job, wasn't she?
Yeah, so I rushed back into the house, stopping to case the joint through a window.
Case the joint. A detective talk.
Yeah, then I got into trouble with Bolton.
How?
By knocking a drink from his nephew's hand.
Huh? What did the uncle do?
He got insulting. Then all of a sudden he suggested going to his penthouse.
Watch it. He's slowing down.
Yeah, I wonder what his idea is. Oh, he's just slowing down for that train.
But he only slowed down for a second. Look at him go.
I know what he's doing. He's trying to beat that train to the crossing. He's trying to lose us.
Step on the gas. Step on the gas, Mr. Holliday.
Okay.
Mr. Holliday, are we going to make it?
He made it, but I don't know about us.
You are listening to Box 13, starring Alan Ladd as Dan Holliday. And now, back to Box 13, starring Alan Ladd as Dan Holliday.
Next time I want such a close shave, I'll see my barber.
Yeah, me too.
Gosh, Mr. Holliday, I thought I could handle this hot rod, but the way you whipped her off the road just short of those tracks,
Not a scratch on her. Lucky us.
That train must be a mile long.
By the time it passes, Bolton can be in Alaska.
What's the address of this penthouse?
You're asking me. All I know is it overlooks Green Hill Park. Our next stop. Well, George, Green Hill Park.
I bet all these buildings have penthouses.
We'll try them all until we hit the right one. I'll go around this side of the park.
Okay, and I'll try the buildings around the other side.
Bolton's got to be in one. Do you have a Mr. Bolton in your penthouse?
No one here by that name.
A Bolton in the penthouse? No, but we have a Botsford in the basement.
Why, yes, Mr. Gilbert Bolton came in a short time ago.
Hello?
No, with a lady and gentleman. Want to go up?
Please. Did Mr. Bolton say anything about expecting more guests?
No, sir.
Do me a favor. A little fellow with a squeaky voice shows up asking for Bolton. Tell him I'm here, will you? Dan Holliday.
Yes, sir.
Oh, here you are.
Thank you, sir. Your floor, sir. That's the penthouse door over there.
Right. I've got a sneaking hunch I won't be welcome.
Flip, how did you get up here?
You didn't expect me?
Yes, of course, but you've earned your money. You can go home now.
I'm sorry, Miss Maud, but Mr. Bolton hired me. It's up to him to fire me.
But he's not here. He and Kenneth both went out.
May I come in and wait?
No. Goodbye.
Now what? Now what does the intrepid hero of my stories do? He looks for another door. Like that one. He tries it. It's open. Leads into a hallway. And there's yet another door. The service entrance to Bolton's penthouse. And 10 to 1, it's locked, bolted, and barred. Maybe even nailed shut. Here's some gambler, Holiday. Offer 10 to 1 and lose. The door's open. Well, here we go again. Shh. Quiet, Holiday. Ah, there's a door leading to the terrace and voices.
Really an excellent view here.
Now get your ear up, Holiday. But don't let them see you.
Don't you think it's a little chilly out here, Uncle?
Let's go inside.
Chilly, Kenneth? I'm really very comfortable.
Here's the view I was telling you about, Kenneth. Better lean over the rail a bit to see around that turret.
Oh, don't push against me, Uncle. That's a 10-story drop.
Now, look over there, Kenneth.
Uncle Gil! Kenneth, let's get away from that rail. Oh, Flint, don't have to throw me back. Better than having your uncle throw you forward.
What's the meaning of this outrage,
How did you get in here anyway?
I'm going to call the police.
Fine, and save me the trouble. Look, Kenneth, I was hired to keep you from committing suicide. Suicide? Who, me? Yeah, but instead I'm keeping you from being murdered. Feel in your coat pocket.
Ignore him, Kenneth. He doesn't know what he's talking about.
A bottle. It's marked poison. Yeah, I saw your uncle plant it in your pocket through the garden window. He wanted to make it look like you poisoned that drink I knocked from your hand.
Stop right there, Holliday. This isn't a cap pistol. You too, Kenneth. Don't move.
Oh, you must be crazy, Uncle Gil. And you knew I was Dan Holliday all along, huh?
Of course. I've seen your picture in the book review pages.
And I caught you a telephone conversation with the Star-Times. On the extension.
You get around. I can't believe this. You, my uncle. What's the play now, Bolton?
Well, first I walk over to Kenneth and knock him out with his gun. Nope. Don't move, Holliday. I've still got you covered.
Oh? And now that you've knocked out your nephew, what's your next move?
Mr. Holliday, before I heave him over the rail to make it look like suicide, I'm going to shoot you.
Oh, fine.
Then I'll wipe my fingerprints off this gun and press my nephew's hand around the butt.
His fingerprints on the gun will prove he shot me, huh? But what about a motive?
Very simple. You tried to stop him from jumping off the terrace.
And you're supposed to invent plots, Mr. Holliday.
But they'll trace the gun to you, Bolton.
Oh, no. It's Kenneth's gun. I took it from his room.
And you wanted a detective on hand to throw off suspicion.
Yes, Mr. Holliday. Who'd suspect Gilbert of murder when he'd hired a detective to protect Kenneth?
But why? Why do you want to kill your nephew?
Let's say I borrowed quite a large sum I can't make good.
Oh. Embezzlement, huh? And you need Kenneth's inheritance to keep out of jail. Wouldn't he lend you the money?
Not the amount we need.
We?
Obviously.
So we're taking it all. Clever, eh, Holliday?
You're killing me.
You're so right. Get rid of whoever it is, Rita.
That doesn't help, Holliday. Forget about writing the great American novel. No room in a coffin for typing.
I tell you, I've got to go and see. I know Dan Holliday's in here and nobody's...
Never mind, Rita.
I couldn't stop him.
I've got plenty of bullets.
Welcome to the party, George.
Hello, Mr. Holliday. A gun. Let me out of here.
Stop. Stop or I'll shoot.
Watch out.
Thanks for the distraction, Flip. Now, Mr. Gilbert Bolton, you know how your nephew feels. Well, I know how it feels to be on the right end of this Smith & Wesson.
You knocked him out. What are you going to do?
Do? Well, since the party's getting dull, let's invite a few more boys. Say from headquarters.
This is Box 13, starring Alan Ladd as Dan Holliday.
Come in.
Hello, Mr. Holliday. Hello, Susie.
Ah, Mr. George Flint, detective.
How's the arm, Mr. Flint?
Oh, it's healing up fine. One of the bullets just grazed me. You know, I bled quite a lot.
Say, wasn't that awful, them trying to kill that boy? And he really wasn't psycho whatchamacallit at all.
Bolton cooked that up to support the suicide story.
Oh.
What's going to happen to them, Mr. Holliday?
Well, they've got Bolton for embezzlement and attempted murder. They're holding Rita as his accomplice.
And she was such a beautiful girl and so sweet, too.
Yes, George. You can say that again.
How's the rod hot these days, Mr. Flint?
Hot rod, Susie.
Hot rod. Rod hot. Red hot. Oh, how is it anyway?
Red hot. Oh, it's fine. And Mr. Halliday. Even if I did run away from that gun, I really do have the heart of a lion.
But of course, George.
Only thing is, it's a scaredy cat lion.
Next week, same time, Alan Ladd stars as Dan Holliday in Box 13. Alan Ladd appears through the courtesy of Paramount Pictures and may currently be seen in Wild Harvest. Box 13 is directed by Ted Hediger. Original music is composed and conducted by Rudy Schrager, with an original story by Larry Kraft. The part of Susie is played by Sylvia Picker. This is a Mayfair production.
Petri Wine brings you Basil Rathbone and Nigel Bruce in the new adventures of Sherlock Holmes. The Petri family, the family that took time to bring you good wine, invites you to listen to Dr. Watson tell us another exciting adventure he shared with his old friend, that master detective, Sherlock Holmes. And as for me, well, I'd like to tell you the easiest way I know to get the reputation of being the perfect host. Next time friends come over for dinner, before you sit down to the table, serve glasses of Petri California Sherry. Petri Sherry is the best beginning a good meal ever had. I say Petri Sherry because Petri Sherry is extraordinary sherry. You can tell by looking at it. Hold it to the light. Notice how clear it is. Notice its beautiful deep amber color. And you can tell Petri Sherry is unusual from just a whiff of its fragrance. And, of course, in the last analysis, you can tell just how fine a wine Petri Sherry is by tasting it. That's the best test of all. And that's where you'll get the most pleasant surprise, because Petri Sherry really tastes wonderful. A flavor right from the heart of the grape. So serve Petri Sherry to your family and your friends, and serve it proudly, because the name Petri is the proudest name in the history of American wines. And now I'm sure our good friend Dr. Watson's expecting us. Let's not keep him waiting.
Come in.
Good evening, Doctor.
Good evening, Mr. Bartello. You'll forgive me if I don't get up, won't you, my boy?
Of course, Doctor. What's the matter, a touch of rheumatism?
No, I played 18 holes of golf today.
I hope that when I'm your age, Doctor, I can be half as sprightly.
Oh, it's very nice of you, but if you don't mind, we won't discuss the question of my age. So draw up your chair, make yourself comfortable. I'll get on with tonight's new Sherlock Holmes adventure.
Well, from the hints you gave us last week, it sounded like quite a spooky story.
It was, Mr. Bartell. It certainly was. Towards the end of November in the year 1895, a dense yellow fog had settled down over London. For 4 or 5 days, it was impossible from our rooms in Baker Street to see the outline of the houses opposite.
A real London pea souper, huh, Doctor?
Yes, my boy, and it became most depressing. The first day, Holmes had spent in cross-indexing his huge book of criminal references. The second and third had been patiently occupied with a subject which he had recently made his hobby, the music of the Middle Ages. But when on the fourth day, on pushing back our chairs after breakfast, we saw the greasy, heavy brown swirl still drifting past us and condensing in oily drops upon the window panes, Sherlock Holmes' impatient and active nature could endure this drab existence no longer. He paced restlessly about our sitting room, chafing against the inaction. After several minutes of these perambulations, he turned to me and spoke.
Anything of interest in the paper, Watson?
There's news of a revolution, a possible war, and of an impending change in the government. Nothing to interest you, though. No crimes of any importance.
The London criminal is certainly a dull and unenterprising fellow these days. Look out of the window, Watson. See how the figures loom up. are dimly seen and then blend once more into the foggy depths. What a day for a thief or a murderer. He could roam London as the tiger does the jungle, unseen until he pounces, and then evident only to his victim.
That's a cheerful thought, I must say. Hello. I wonder who that is.
Probably a visitor for Mrs. Hudson, or perhaps the local plumber has finally condescended to pay some attention to the faulty gas jet in our hallway.
I don't think you're right on either count. I can hear Mrs. Hudson's footsteps on the stairs.
Come in. Come in. Yes, Mrs. Hudson, what is it?
Oh, excuse me, Mr. Holmes, but there's a gentleman to see you. Says it's most important, and he asked me to give you this card.
Oh, thank you. Oh, Mortimer Harley, eh? Show him up, please, Mrs. Hudson.
Very good.
Mortimer Harley, and who's he?
I've not had the pleasure of meeting him personally, but I'm quite familiar with his scientific reputation.
Scientific? In what does he specialize?
Oh, I suppose one might refer to him as one of the greatest authorities on all matters connected with the occult.
You mean the fellow dabbles in supernatural stuff and all that sort of thing?
I mean, my dear Watson, that Mortimer Harley is an extremely intelligent man with a thoroughly comprehensive and scholarly knowledge of his field and an intense belief in the existence of the supernatural force. Now, here he is to speak for himself. Oh, come in, Harley. Thank you, Mrs. Hudson.
You're Mr. Sherlock Holmes?
Yes, sir. This is my colleague, Dr. Watson.
How do you do, Mr. Harley?
How do you do, Doctor?
Won't you sit down, sir?
Thank you. Well, you fellas are probably wondering who I am and what's brought me here.
Well, we're not wondering who you are, Mr. Harley. My friend Holmes was just telling me of your scientific eminence.
I'm flattered that you know of me, Holmes. Just the same, you're wondering why I'm here.
Naturally, sir.
Well, since you know I'm a student of the occult, I'll get right down to my problem. Mr. Holmes, have you ever heard of the headless monk of Trevennis Chapel?
Oh, yes, indeed, Mr. Harley. An apparition to be counted among our more intangible national treasures, I should say.
I'm sorry to appear stupid, but I have never heard of the headless monk of whatever it is, Chapel.
Well, then, let me tell you about it, Doctor.
Yes, I wish you would.
Trevennis Manor in Cornwall was once an abbey. It was expropriated during the reign of Henry VIII, and several of the monks were killed in some of the minor difficulties attendant on such an act. But one of the murdered monks, a certain Brother Hugh, the chapel organist, was persistent. He still haunts the chapel today. He still plays the organ, and since he was beheaded, he always appears headless.
It's a charming little legend, Mr. Harley, but you don't expect us to believe it's anything but a legend, surely.
Ah, skeptic, eh? How about you, Mr. Holmes?
I'm extremely curious to know why you come to see me, Mr. Harley.
I'll tell you why. I have a rare opportunity to investigate the phenomena. You see, the son of an old friend of mine, a young fellow by the name of Leonard Miles, is secretary to the owner of Trevennis Manor. He asked me to stay there, and I find the invitation irresistible, particularly since the phenomena have curiously increased of late, Mr. Holmes, almost as though some more mortal agency were motivating them.
Oh. Now I see why you've come to me, Mr. Harley.
I knew you would, Holmes. You see, I'm like my good friend and fellow investigator, Carnacki. I believe in being prepared to meet phenomena on either the natural or the supernatural plane. If the phenomena are real, then they fall legitimately in my field.
Whereas if, as I'm sure you suspect, they are being contrived by human forces, then you think that's more in my department, eh, Harley?
Exactly.
Well, what do you say, Holmes? A little trip to Cornwall would be a nice few days. We'd probably escape the fog down there.
Oh, the place is with the weather, Watson.
What?
I'm much more concerned with the fog that surrounds the appearances of the headless monk of Trevennis Chapel. And Mr. Harley, I accept your invitation with pleasure. There's still time to catch the Cornish Express. We can be at Trevennis Manor before the moon is up.
Hello? Who's this funny-looking fellow coming down the steps towards us?
If I didn't hear the sound of his footsteps, I'd believe it was a psychic manifestation. He certainly looks as if he came from beyond the grave.
Who be ye, gentlemen? Where be ye going?
Well, supposing you tell us who you are first, my good man.
Who be I? I be David Pendragon, sir. That's who I be. Stable hand here at the manor. And I ask you gentlemen again where you be going.
We're staying at the manor, and we're just going to take a look at the chapel.
Oh, don't he do that, sir. People that go in there don't often come out the way they go in, sir. Don't he do it, gentlemen?
What are you talking about, my good fellow?
I be talking about the ghoulies and the ghosties and the organ music that comes out of the nowheres.
You've heard it?
Of course I heard it, sir. Just like I seen the poor monk walking around without his head on.
Take us into the chapel, will you? And show us where you saw the figure.
Aye, that I will not, sir. Not for all the gold in Port Call will I go back and chance seeing the poor lost soul wandering about without his head on. If you gentlemen know what's good for ye, you'll not go in there either. Mark my words. Don't he go in that chapel.
Extraordinary chap. Seems really frightened of the place.
Yes, but it's more than blind superstition that accounts for his reluctance. Let's go in, shall we?
Well, I suppose it's all right. Great Scott! Listen to that. The organ. The ghost's playing it.
We're extremely fortunate. A psychic manifestation as soon as we enter. Remarkable.
Psychic manifestation rubbish. Look who's sitting at the keyboard. It's Holmes. Holmes! What's the matter, Watson? What's the matter? You frightened us to death, didn't he, Holly?
Well, speaking for myself, Doctor, it disappointed me. I thought it was a genuine phenomenon.
What do you think you're doing, Holmes? I thought you were still behind us.
I'm sorry if I frightened you, Watson. I was curious about this organ. I slipped in by the side door ahead of you and tested the instrument. It's in astonishingly good condition for a disused chapel, don't you think, Harley?
Yes, I do, Holmes.
One might reasonably presume that someone tends it with great care. In fact, I would go further and say...
What are you doing in here?
We are guests at the manor house, and we decided to pay a visit to the chapel before we paid our respects to our host.
Oh. My father is your host. I'm Dorothy Brownlee.
How do you do, Dorothy? My name is Holmes, and these gentlemen are Dr. Watson and Mr. Harley.
How do you do, Dr. Watson? Mr. Harley. I heard the organ music, and I was terribly frightened. You've heard of the legend, I suppose.
You mean about the headless monk and the ghostly organ and music, Miss Brownlee?
Yes, Doctor. And it's more than a legend, I assure you. That's why I rushed over here as soon as I heard it. It must have frightened all the servants within hearing distance. Why were you playing the organ?
I was curious to see whether it was in good repair.
Obviously it is, Mr. Holmes. Well, my father and his secretary, Mr. Miles, are expecting you, I know. Let's walk over to the house, shall we? I'm sure you've seen enough of the chapel for tonight. Father, this is Mr. Sherlock Holmes and Dr. Watson.
How do you do?
How do you do, sir?
How do you do? This is my secretary, Leonard Miles.
How do you do, Mr.
How do you
Miles?
do, Mr. Brown? Dr. Watson? I'm afraid Mr. Brown is rather angry with me. I hadn't told him that you were an expert on psychic phenomena, Mr. Harley.
I fail to see why the knowledge of that fact should make you angry, Mr. Brownlee.
I don't want you ferreting about into this so-called ghost business. There's been enough trouble in the neighborhood already. It's almost impossible to keep servants, and these Cornish people are incredibly superstitious.
You haven't seen the ghost yourself, Mr. Brownlee?
Oh, of course not. There isn't any ghost, I tell you.
You heard the mysterious organ playing?
No, I haven't. And I don't want to talk about it anymore. Yes, what is it?
David Pendragon at the door. He's very anxious to see you, sir.
Pendragon? Oh, very well. Tell him to come in.
Yes.
David? What does he want, I wonder?
That's the fellow we met outside the chapel, isn't it?
Yes. Quite a colourful character.
Oh, he's a superstitious old fool, if you ask me. But he is a good groom. Yes, Pendragon, what is it? Begging your pardon, sir, but there be trouble at the chapel again tonight. I says to myself, David, 'tis your duty to go to the master, I says. Oh, never mind. What's the trouble? As the moon was hanging low tonight, sir, I hears the organ a-playing.
But that was Mr. Holmes, my good man.
Aye, that's what he thinks, maybe. But what I says to myself is, what made him play the organ? Then this very night, I saw the headless monk. With my own eyes, I saw that poor soul with his head off, wandering in the moonlight. I saw that, sir, with my own eyes, I did. Oh, get out of here, you blithering old fool. And I'm warning you, if I hear any more nonsense about this ghost, you'll lose your job, you understand? Now come along, be off with you. Aye, sir, begging your pardon, sir. Come on, I'll give you chaps a drink.
Mr. Brownlee seems absolutely rabid on the subject of the ghost, eh?
Yes. Suspiciously so. Wonder what he's trying to hide.
Whatever it is, I don't think he'll be successful. In your profession, Holmes, you know that murder will out. It's true in my profession also. Try to suppress them as you may, gentlemen. Ghosts will out.
Well, Holmes, Holmes, this place may be haunted, but I swear that I never spent a better night anywhere.
Good morning, Mr. Holly.
Good morning.
Good morning, sir. Good morning.
I'm glad to see I'm not the only late riser.
Oh, were you up late too, sir?
Yes, I was, Doctor. I decided to ignore the veiled threats of Mr. Brownlee, and so I did a little investigating in the chapel. Would you mind passing the teapot?
And what were the results of your investigations, Mr. Holly?
Well, there was no psychic manifestation, you understand, but I'm sure of one thing. That chapel is evil. Evil to the hearts of its stones. And I'll swear that evil does not stem from the hapless monk who was murdered there.
You confirm certain suspicions aroused by my own investigations last night. There is evil here, Mr. Holly, and I think I know its nature. Unless I mistake every sign and reaction, someone has been initiating the local peasantry into the evils of the Black Mass.
Black Mass? Good Lord, what a shocking thought.
My own sensations last night confirm your theory, Holmes. There is a coven here, I swear it, hiding its own obscene practices under cover of the haunting.
Well, that sounds quite feasible. After all, the people are so superstitious that they'd keep as far away as possible from the chapel when they heard the organ playing.
This problem falls into both our fields, Holly. The practice of black magic is a criminal offense.
Perhaps it's just as well the old laws against witchcraft are still in force.
I imagine, Mr. Harley, that you have your own methods of combating such forces as we're up against.
Oh, yes, Holmes, though mine are not connected with the legal aspect of the case.
May I ask what you plan to do, sir?
Well, I have several rather elaborate preparations to make, Doctor. It'll take me most of the day, I'm afraid. However, I shall explain them to you all after dinner tonight.
It's very pleasant to sit here after a good dinner with a superb brandy at one's elbow and listen to the piano being so charmingly played.
You're very kind, Doctor.
Want to play something more, Miss Brownlee?
I'd love to.
Are you enjoying your stay down here, Oh, Mr. very Holmes? much, thank you. Both Mr. Holly and I have found the local folklore extremely interesting.
I say, you fellows haven't been investigating the haunted chapel business again, have you?
Now, look here. If you have, I shall be very angry. It's abusing my hospitality. I told you distinctly I didn't want any more talk of ghosts.
We are not talking of ghosts, my dear Mr. Brownlee. I have something even more important that I must fight now. It's possibly a little hard to imagine me as a crusader. Me, the stooped little man, beside the four of you, as toweringly tall a quartet of men as I have ever faced. And yet, I am your St. George.
What on earth are you talking about, sir?
I'll tell you in secrecy. This mustn't reach the ears of the peasantry. I refer to myself as St. George because I go to wipe out an evil that lives in your midst. A living, modern dragon.
Please, Mr. Holly. That sounds dreadfully frightening.
And to rid you all of this fiend, I must cleanse the chapel, purify it, exorcise it, remove its residue of psychic evil. That, gentlemen, is my mission tonight.
Dorothy!
She fainted. Get some smelling salts, quickly.
I'm afraid you were a little too graphic, Mr. Holly.
I'm sorry if I frightened the young lady, but I'm sure that after tonight she will have no further grounds for fear in Trevennis Manor.
Holmes.
Yes, old chap?
Did you hear anything?
Nothing but the owls and the clock striking midnight.
I'm getting off the jumper. What do you suppose Harley's up to?
I can imagine his procedure. Midnight, the crucial hour, I suppose, in his endeavors. I wish him luck. My own plans are not nearly as clear, unfortunately. I sense a guiding force here that I lack the clues.
There is something, Holmes. Listen.
Great heavens! It's the organ in the chapel.
And Harley's in there alone.
Not alone. Listen to the organ. Pealing forth its madness. Come on, Watson. Something has gone horribly wrong.
You'll hear the rest of Dr. Watson's story in just a second. You know, a moment ago I told you how much I thought you'd like Petri California Sherry. But I didn't tell you that Petri Sherry is the all-round, all-American wine. You can not only serve Petri Sherry before dinner, it's good after dinner, too. And, of course, later in the evening when you're listening to the radio with some friends, a glass of Petri Sherry is just the thing. And say, Petri makes two kinds of sherry. the regular, and Petri Pale Dry. To make sure you get the one that you like best, do what I do. Don't buy one, buy two. But remember, always buy Petri. Dr. Watson, that was a heck of a place to break off your story.
Then let us continue it as speedily as possible, my boy. As soon as we heard that devilish organ music, Holmes and I rushed out of the house and raced in the moonlight down the path leading to the ruined chapel. By the time we reached the entrance, the organ music had ceased, and the tall, gangling figure of David Pendragon was standing in our path.
You gentlemen be wanting it this time of night.
What are you doing here?
I be here because the gentleman gave me 5 shillings to stand outside here and see that no one disturbed him. That's why I be here. And nobody did come or go. He still be there, he be.
But when you heard that organ music, why the devil didn't you go in?
Organ music? I heard no organ music,
come on,
sir.
Watson.
Great heavens. Look at him.
We're too late. Poor devil. A knife through his heart.
It's obvious who did it, that fellow Pendragon. I'll go and grab him before he gets away.
Watson, he's not our man. This murder was planned with devilish cunning.
The curious thing, there's no sign of a struggle at all. Looks he just stood here and allowed himself to be stabbed.
Are these chalk marks with which the body is surrounded? They're known as a pentagram, I believe. He thought it would protect him completely from the supernatural forces.
Poor chap. For once his researches went too far.
Yes, because they touched not on the supernatural, but upon natural evil. And remember, Watson, that only 3 people besides ourselves and David Pendragon knew of this vigil.
Yes, Brownlee, his daughter, and young Miles, the secretary.
Exactly. Go back to the house, will you? And bring them here. Perhaps we can lay a ghost by trapping a murderer.
And that's all I know, Mr. Holmes.
Well, you've not established much so far, Holmes. The 3 of them all swear they were asleep and that they didn't hear the organ.
Yes, then you can't prove otherwise,
I think I
Holmes.
can prove that one of you was not only awake, but also murdered Mortimer Harley.
But why should any of us want the poor man dead,
In
Mr.
your
Holmes?
case, young lady, I confess that I find it hard to conceive a motive.
Implying that Mr. Brownlee and I might have one?
Well, Mr. Miles, you must admit that you're responsible for Mr. Harley coming here.
And you, Mr. Brownlee, must admit that you did everything in your power to prevent the dead man from carrying out his investigations. Why? What were you trying to hide?
Nothing. It's just that I wanted to sell the manor house. All this talk about ghosts was giving the place a bad name. And if it had gone on, I'd never have disposed of the property.
Well, speculation can get us nowhere. Let's get down to facts. Is there any other entrance to this chapel besides the 2 doors?
None.
Oh, there was an old smuggler's cave which came out near the organ loft, but Father had it bricked up some years ago.
I had to. The tourists kept crawling in.
Go and examine it, will you, Watson, old chap?
All right, you are, Holmes.
If you don't mind my saying so, Mr. Holmes, it seems obvious who did this murder.
You told us David Pendragon admitted that no one went in or out as he stood guard. He must have done it himself. Oh, the man's half-witted.
And superstitious. He might have killed Mr. Harley because he was attempting to interfere with a ghost.
And then played the organ to celebrate the occasion? I think you overestimate David Pendragon's capabilities, Miss Brownlee. Mr. Miles.
Yes, Mr. Holmes.
Pendragon is waiting outside. Would you be kind enough to ask him to come here for a moment, please?
Certainly.
What did you find out, Watson?
Well, it's easy to see where it was bricked up, but it's a solid wall now. No one could get in that way.
But if no one came in or out, who else could have killed Harley except Pendragon?
The ghost, or rather the person disguised as a ghost. The dead man expected a psychic manifestation. When he saw the supposed ghost coming towards him, he offered no resistance. He believed that the magical pentagram would protect him. Ah, there you are, David.
Aye, here I be, sir. But I don't know nothing more than what I told thee.
Oh, don't be frightened, Pendragon. All we want is the truth.
That's what I told thee, sir.
And tell us a little more, will you? When you said no one had entered the chapel tonight, you meant that no mortal man had entered, didn't you?
That I did, sir. But how could I say I'd seen the ghost when Mr. Brownlee here had told me I'd lose my job if I spoke of the ghost again?
Oh, now we're getting somewhere. So you did see the ghost?
That I did, sir. The poor soul walking through the moonlight with no head on his body.
You saw it quite clearly?
Just as clearly as I sees you now, sir.
How tall was he?
He was... Would you mind standing against the wall, sir?
Yes, of course.
He was as tall as... Well, his shoulders come to just where your shoulders come now, sir.
You're a tall man, then, so we narrow it down to either you, Mr. Brownlee, or you, Mr. Miles.
This is utterly ridiculous.
Of course it is.
On the contrary, gentlemen, the case is solved.
Which one of them was it, Holmes?
Neither. Remember that the ghost is headless. That means that the impostor must have built up fake shoulders covering the head. On either of these men, it would have brought their shoulders to the level of my head.
Great Scott, it was...
Oh, Mr. Holmes, I didn't think you'd catch me.
Dorothy! No, I don't believe... Miss Brownlee, I must warn you that...
Keep back. Don't any of you come near me. As you see, I have a revolver.
Dorothy, for heaven's sake!
Don't speak to me of heaven! You thought I was a sweet little girl, didn't you, Father? You didn't know your dear, demure daughter could murder a man, did you?
Why did you kill Mortimer Harley?
Because he was a meddler. For months I've been practicing black magic here. For months I've been building up the legend of the headless monk and the organ music. It made me so wonderfully alone, so gloriously free to practice the right. And then he came here. I let him live that first night because I thought he was a fool. But on the second, when he said he was going to exorcise this chapel, to purify it, as he said, he signed his death warrant. If you could have seen his face, if you could only have seen his stupid, startled face as I plunged the knife into him.
Dorothy!
He bled so beautifully.
Holmes, she's mad as a hatter. What are we going to do? Brownlee, give me that revolver.
And let you take me to prison or an asylum? No, you'll never catch me.
She's backing up the stairs leading to the organ loft.
Dorothy, come back!
Don't try and follow me.
Look out! The railing's behind you.
And turn my head. Oh, no, Mr. Holmes,
Dorothy! My poor little girl.
Mr. Brownlee, the powers of evil are frightening. Your daughter had killed one man and might have killed more. She was insane. Hopelessly insane.
Well, Doctor, that was quite an exciting story. You know, I wish I could play the organ and write music for it. There's nothing like music to really express a thought.
Yes, I can just imagine the kind of music that you'd write. Probably catchy little ditties such as, "The Petri family took the time to bring you such good wine. So when you eat and when you drink, remember Petri wine."
Oh, no, Doctor. Is that the way I affect you? Although on the level, you could probably write beautiful music to describe the way the grapes look on the vine in the sunlight. But what music could tell you about the Petri family and how long they've been making fine wine? You know, the Petri family has been making wine for generations, handing on down from father to son, the knowledge necessary to transform luscious, sun-ripened California grapes into delicious, fragrant wine. And when you see that name Petri on a bottle of wine, remember, you're not looking at a mere trademark. That name Petri is the personal assurance of the Petri family that every drop of wine in that bottle meets their unusually high standards. Petri wine is always good wine. It's got to be, because Petri took time to bring you good wine. Well, Dr. Watson, what new Sherlock Holmes adventure do you have lined up for us next week?
Well, now let me think. Next week, Mr. Bartell, I'm going to tell you a story that started quietly enough as Holmes and I sat at a London dinner party, and yet, before the evening was over, we found ourselves involved in one of the most shocking scandals that ever rocked London society.
Tonight's Sherlock Holmes adventure was written by Dennis Green and Anthony Boucher and was suggested by an incident in Sir Arthur Conan Doyle's story, The Adventure of the Devil's Foot. Music is by Dean Fossler. Mr. Rathbone appears through the courtesy of Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer, and Mr. Bruce through the courtesy of Universal Pictures, where they are now starring in the Sherlock Holmes series. The Petri Wine Company of San Francisco, California, invites you to tune in again next week, same time, same station. Sherlock Holmes comes to you from our Hollywood studios. This is Harry Bartell saying good night for the Petri family. This is the Mutual Broadcasting System.
The makers of Camel cigarettes present Dick Powell as Richard Diamond, private detective.
What cigarette do you smoke, Doctor?
Again, this question has been asked of doctors in every branch of medicine. And again, the brand name most was Camel.
Yes, according to this repeated nationwide survey, more doctors smoke Camels than any other cigarette. Here, transcribed, is Richard Diamond, Private Detective, starring Dick Powell.
Being a private detective is like ordering stew in a cheap restaurant. You never know what you're getting until it's too late. It was that way the other morning. I was sitting in my office practicing curtain speeches to my creditors when she came in. She was wearing a casual item that must have caused a sharp dip at the mink population. When she reached my desk, she stopped and her perfume kept moving. She probably noticed the glassy look reaching my eyes because she said,
"Does my perfume bother you, Mr. Diamond?"
"Well, no, not at all. My fangs always show like this."
Le Joie. It carries a special guarantee.
Well, I won't ask for what. Won't you sit down, Miss...
Not Miss, just Yvonne. It's not my real name, but I find it has a better effect on the trade.
The trade?
Cosmetics. Perfumes, facial creams, mud packs. I manufacture them. Mostly for women, but I have a lot of male customers.
I'll bet you do. Unfortunately, I've just bought a magnum of shaving lotion myself.
Oh, don't be silly, Mr. Diamond. I didn't come here to sell you anything. I'm sure you wouldn't have any need for my products.
We'll save that debate for later.
Well, I'll be brief. I'm a woman who likes to come to the point.
I can see that.
How would a $200 fee sound to you?
Like a mirage, but beautiful.
Well, here you are. 100 now, the rest when you finish the job.
Well, far be it from me to hesitate over money. Especially that nice, luxurious shade of green. But don't you think that...
Of course. You want to know what you have to do.
It would help.
It's very simple. This afternoon, the Ile-de-France docks in New York. On the ship will be a man named Bouchon.
One of your customers? Or is this social?
Monsieur Bouchon has developed a wonderful new face cream. He's arranged for me to have the exclusive American rights.
Well, that's fine. Where do I come in?
Your job starts at 7 tonight. All you do is pick up the sample from Monsieur Bouchon at his hotel and bring it to me.
Oh, I see. Do you mind if I look at your legs?
Why, no. But I thought we were talking business.
We are. Mm-hmm. Well, you've got nice legs, Yvonne.
They take me where I want to go.
What keeps them from taking you to Bouchon's hotel?
You mean pick up the sample myself? I was sure you'd ask that.
Well, I did.
You don't know the cosmetic industry, Mr. Diamond. My competitors would do anything to get hold of that face cream.
They know you expect Bouchon?
Only one of them. A ruthless man.
Does he have a name or just a disposition?
Robert Mockler. He owns the Venus Beauty Enterprises.
And you think he might follow you, take the sample away before you can start to manufacture? So you're paying me $200 to protect it?
Oh, Mr. Diamond, I'm going to like you. You're so understanding.
$100 bills make me that way.
I'll expect you tonight around 7:30.
My job's over when I deliver the sample to you, is that it?
Yes. But don't make any plans for the rest of the evening. There's a new perfume I want to try out.
She gave me her address and the name of Bouchon's hotel. Then she walked to the door with a motion cats spend years trying to learn. I sat there a while, letting my head clear and my temperature sink to a mere galloping fever. I had a bite of lunch, strolled around most of the afternoon doing things people do to kill time in New York. And it was about 4 when I climbed the stairs and walked down the hall to my apartment. Au clair de la lune, mon ami Poirot. Oh, she was too old for that anyway. Hey, what is this?
Hello, Diamond.
Oh, didn't you knock? Or did you think this was an L station?
I knocked, nobody answered. I came in.
Now you can go out.
How much did she pay you?
Who?
Yvonne. How much did she pay you to get that face cream sample?
I'll bet a mud pack to a permanent your name's Mockler.
Yeah. Venus Beauty Enterprises. I'll double what she paid you.
You want that face cream pretty bad, huh?
Bring it to me, huh, Diamond?
Are you that interested in cosmetics?
It's a business. Do I get that sample?
No.
Be nice, Diamond. So I can be nice.
Well, it'll be a strain for both of us.
Triple. I'll give you 3 times what she paid. And a bonus on the side.
Why don't you get it yourself?
Think I'd be here if I knew where Bouchon was?
That door, Mr. Mockler, it leads to the hall. Use it.
I ask you to be nice. Once. The second time, I don't ask.
You heard me. Ow.
Ow, you take your hands off me.
I'm just being nice.
You dirty.
Get up. And then get out.
All right, Diamond. I'm leaving.
You take a hint nicely.
I won't forget this.
I wouldn't want you to.
You just lost yourself a chunk of cash, Diamond.
I'm not a very good businessman. It's a habit with me.
Well, it's too bad. Might have helped pay the bill.
What bill?
The undertaker. Funerals run high these days.
He stomped to the door, his face twisted with some private rage that had just become public, and left. When face cream got to be that important, it was time for Richard Diamond to start investigating the cosmetic business. I took a shower, dressed neatly in my most continental fashion, and taxied off to visit Monsieur Bouchon. He was staying at a small hotel in the East 70s, one of those places where the doorman is dressed like an admiral in the Swiss Navy. I ignored the doorman and waded through miles of plush carpet until I found Bouchon's suite. I pushed the buzzer, and when the door opened, I was standing in front of the biggest female this side of a Ringling Brothers tent.
You want something, gentlemen?
Monsieur Bouchon, is he in?
Who you been, gentlemen?
Richard Diamond.
Come in.
What's the matter? Is my tie on crooked?
Please.
Well, the way you're looking at me, maybe my nose is shiny.
It's better when you've been really Richard Diamond. Because, gentlemen, if you know Ben Richard Diamond, they ben break your bones. One bone by one bone. You see, gentlemen?
I'm afraid I do. But now if you'll just...
Monsieur Diamond.
Monsieur Bouchon, I hope.
Name of punctuality, Monsieur Diamond. Exactly on time. I kiss you on one cheek. I kissed you on cheek number 2.
We can stop it right there.
Let me regard you. Ah, oui. It is as Yvonne say you will be. So young, so handsome, so viril.
I feel like a midget next to your watchdog here.
Watchdog? Je ne comprends pas. Ah, oui, Bertha. She is my masseuse. She makes new muscles as the old.
And vice versa on occasion, I suppose.
Regard her, Monsieur Diamond. Name of a Swedish smorgasbord. Is she not magnifique?
Yeah, spellbinding. Now, about that sample I'm supposed to pick up.
But of course, Bertha.
Please.
In the boudoir, Bertha. There is a jar on the bed, next to my Chartreuse dressing gown. Bring it.
Yeah, gentlemen.
I wish to tell you, Monsieur Diamond, how pleasant it is to be back in your New York once more. What a truly magnifique city she is to visit.
But you wouldn't want to live here.
Name of a fortune teller, but you are psychic. How did you know I would say that?
I've been hanging around the tourist bureau.
I do not understand, but I think you are being droll. You would have a tiny brandy with me. Some logis du mai, n'est-ce pas?
Well, thanks, but I've got a date with a room full of perfume.
The Yvonne. Naturally, the incomparable Yvonne. Well, I suppose I cannot persuade you to stay. Thank you, Bertha.
Please.
Here, Monsieur Diamond, is the latest Bouchon creation.
That's all? Just this jar?
I have worked so hard on this sample. Oui. How I have labored. You will take good care of it, yes?
Well, for $200, I'd tuck it in bed and sing it a lullaby.
But no. No. You must not do that. You must make haste and place the sample in the hands of the lovely Yvonne.
Any message to go with it?
The sample. She will be message enough.
Okay, I'll be seeing you.
Of a certainty you will, Monsieur Diamond. Of a certainty.
I looked back on my way out of the suite. Monsieur Bouchon had an atomizer in each hand, spraying the room with cologne. The expression on his face reminded me of the python who had just swallowed his week's supply of rabbit on the hoof. I snowshoed my way down to the street and started to look for a taxi. I didn't have to look far.
Hey, Mac!
Huh?
Over here, Mac! You looking for a hack?
That's right.
Hop in.
53 East.
Sit down and be nice, Mr. Diamond, or I'll blow your head off.
Well, you leave me a limited choice, Mr. Motley.
That's better. Fine work, Willie.
Yeah, pretty neat, huh, Mr. Muckler?
I'll answer that, Willie. It was neat. Now, I'd like to...
Diamond. I thought you were going to be nice. I'll take that gun.
Well, you might give me a gold star for trying.
We're fixing your gold star right now. My place, Willie.
It didn't do any good to tell myself I should have known better. I'd been caught by a trick 10 times older than I was. I took a quick look at Muckler's profile just to make sure it was still there. It was. I didn't have to look at his gun. It had found a home between my 4th and 5th rib. We finally pulled up in front of an apartment just off Park Avenue. Muckler herded me across a foyer that might have been cheerful in McKinley's day. He pushed me toward the elevator.
All right, get in.
Would you mind shifting that gun a bit? My floating ribs run aground.
I'll be nice, Diamond. Suits you better than being funny.
And I was just trying to be pleasant. But if you insist,
Don't talk so loud. My neighbors are refined. All right, get out.
Aren't you making a lot of fuss over nothing? After all, it's only a jar of face cream.
You'd be surprised.
No kidding. Any drugstore.
Shut up.
Oh, nice place.
It's a place. All right, give me the sample.
Well, just for the record, suppose I say no.
You say no, you won't have a record. The sample, Diamond.
Get it. My coat pocket.
That's right.
Oh, I thought you'd try that.
Give me that gun.
Okay, right between your pretty blue eyes.
His gun caught me a glancing blow on the forehead, and I went down. I couldn't have been out for more than a few seconds, because when I came to, Muckler was still in the room. I tried to get up, but my body had a will of its own. At the moment, what it wanted most was to rest comfortably on the rug. Muckler didn't notice me. He was too busy trying to get the top off the jar. When he finally did...
Before we continue with Richard Diamond, here's an important question.
What's the best way to find out about smoking enjoyment?
Well, you won't find out much from one puff or one sniff. It takes day in, day out smoking. Make the sensible, thorough cigarette test. Smoke only Camels for 30 days. You'll discover how rich and flavorful Camels are pack after pack. You'll find how mild Camels are, how well they agree with your throat week after week.
In a coast-to-coast test of hundreds of people who smoked Camels for 30 days, noted throat specialists reported not one single case of throat irritation due to smoking Camels.
No other cigarette gives you this conclusive proof of mildness.
And no other cigarette has Camel's rich, full flavor, the flavor of costly tobaccos, properly aged and expertly blended.
So make your own Camel 30-day test, the sensible test. You'll enjoy every puff, and you'll see why so many people say, once a Camel smoker, always a Camel smoker.
How mild, how mild, how mild, how mild, how mild can a cigarette be? Take the Camel 30-day test, and you'll see. Smoke Camels and see.
And now back to Richard Diamond, Private Detective, starring Dick Powell.
Rick. Rick, come on, boy. Wake up.
Oh. Wow, did they say nice things about me, Walt?
Who?
The preacher. The one who read my funeral service. Oh.
This is a hospital, and you're not dead.
Oh. You mean I've got to go all through that again?
Why you're not dead is something I'll never know. What happened?
You tell me, Walt.
Well, we got a call an hour ago to come to the apartment of a guy named Muckler. There'd been an explosion. You were stretched out on what was left of the floor.
Oh, that potent face cream.
Face cream? You sure you're awake, Rick?
I'm awake, yeah. What about Muckler?
Well, he was around the apartment. I might say all around.
Oh, so it was a booby trap.
Booby trap? What's this all about?
Walter, those are my pants on the chair.
Well, what's left of them?
Throw them over, will you?
Now, wait a minute, Rick. Aren't you going to tell me what's going on?
Sure. A Frenchman named Bouchon was trying to blow up a girl named Yvonne with a jar of face cream.
That face cream again. Maybe you better stay here a while, huh?
Look, Walt, nothing makes sense yet.
That's the first sensible thing you've said since you woke up.
Give me time to ask a few people some questions.
How would it be if I asked them?
You wouldn't get the same answers.
All right, Rick. We'll give it a try.
I'll call you as soon as I've made a visit.
Don't wait too long. There's a murder rap crying for a head to fall on.
I checked out of the hospital and walked a few blocks to shake the India rubber out of my legs. I knew it wouldn't do any good, but I ducked into a phone booth and called Bouchon's hotel. And as I expected, he'd pulled out a couple of hours before. Manager had no idea where he'd gone. There was only one place left for me to go, and it was a little after 10 when Yvonne opened her door for me. I could tell by the quiet music on the radio that she didn't know what had happened. The way she greeted me bolstered up my deduction.
Well, hello. Do come in, Mr. Diamond.
Thanks. Aren't you afraid of catching cold in that thing?
You mean this negligee? I wore it specially for you. I've been waiting a long time. Too long.
Well, you just missed waiting a lot longer.
That Monsieur Bouchon, so talkative.
He has a few other qualities.
Come sit down. Here on the chaise longue. Next to me.
Well, I hate to make a detour, but let's get the sad news over with first.
Oh? Something's gone wrong?
Oh, you almost got it. Nothing's gone right.
I should have known. Your clothes,
You ought to see what your face cream did to Mockler's clothes.
Mockler? Did he get that sample?
He had it for a few minutes, if that's what you mean.
Mr. Diamond, if I didn't like you, I'd be very angry.
Well, you shouldn't be. When Mockler opened that sample, he got very dead. It was a bomb.
I don't understand. The face cream Monsieur Bouchon gave you was a bomb?
Well, not quite, no. The bomb Monsieur gave me was a bomb.
Just a minute, Mr. Diamond. Let me turn off this radio. You don't know how this upsets me.
I know. I was upset myself this evening, violently.
Oh, you poor boy.
Well, no, that helps.
Hand me that bag, please, there on the coffee table.
Well, if you want a handkerchief.
I have what I'm looking for. Here, Mr. Diamond. $100. The other half of your fee.
No? Does an explanation come of that?
I'm sure you'll excuse me until another time. Won't you?
Well, when you say it like that,
I'm sorry. I was so looking forward to... Good night, Mr. Diamond.
There were a few reasons why I'd like to have hung around, but I could tell this just wasn't my night. So I left Yvonne, called Walt, and told him he could forward the bill for Mockler's murder to Monsieur Bouchon if he could find him. Then I crawled into a little bistro on 53rd Street to relax and count my $100 bills. I was on my second cup of coffee and third Campbell's cigarette when it came to me. Like the paraphrase of an old song, Bouchon knew that I knew. If he'd been foolish enough to let me be messenger for his booby trap, it was a cinch he wouldn't be foolish for very long. As long as I was walking around in one piece, Bouchon could never feel safe. I could have dodged him, maybe for a long time, but I decided it would be better to see him when he wanted to see me. I went home and made myself available. At 11:35, the walls of my room started to shudder when somebody pounded on the door. I didn't have any doubts about who it was. Oh, be careful, will you? It's just mahogany.
It's only me, gentlemen. Bertha.
I couldn't possibly have guessed.
Please.
Oh, never mind. What do you want?
Monsieur Bouchon, they have been send me.
It'll be a tight squeeze, but won't you come in?
You come out, gentlemen.
Okay, just as soon as I get my coat.
You know they need your coat, gentlemen.
Well, it's right over here.
You come now, gentlemen. They will assist your arm. Please.
Oh, nothing. I always thought my arm bent the other way.
It's better this way. is healthy for bones. You come now, gentlemen?
Please. She put a little more pressure on my arm and led me down the stairs. She was so clumsy I could have taken her with a few artful motions, but Bouchon had sent her, and I wanted to see Bouchon. When we reached the street, Bertha grabbed my other arm. We made an interesting entrance into a taxi, which took us to a shabby apartment house on Bleecker Street in Greenwich Village. Bertha adjusted her half Nelson, and we climbed 3 flights of stairs. The end of our little pilgrimage was a pair of termite-ridden rooms, which I never would have associated with a fastidious Frenchman. Bouchon was not there, and Bertha didn't seem to know what to do with me. Then her eyes lighted up. She angled me across the room, pulled open a door, looked at me brightly, and said,
Is bathroom, gentlemen?
Well, thanks. I brushed my teeth this evening.
Go in.
Where's Bouchon?
It's not good. You been asked questions. Go in.
Well, we'll wait out here.
It's more comfortable inside. If you no been go inside, I been glad to assist you.
I was ready to argue the point when I looked in the bathroom and saw a table full of bottles and jars. So I let Bertha shove me inside and lock the door behind me. Then I walked over to the table. Next to a bottle labeled Valley of Indecision Cologne stood a jar, exactly like the booby trap Bouchon had given me earlier in the evening. I picked it up, decided that forever was a long time to live, and opened it. This time it really was face cream. I poked my fingers around in the jar to see what made it so wonderful. When I pulled them out, things suddenly became a lot clearer. Because just under the top layer of face cream was buried the biggest blue sapphire I'd ever seen. I wiped it off and slipped it into my pocket just about the time the outer door opened.
Bertha?
It was Bouchon, and he didn't waste time starting in on Bertha.
Bertha, where is this diamond? You have not brought him.
Then bring him.
But I do not see him.
Then bring him.
Alors, where is he? Where is he?
Lock him in the bathroom.
In the bathroom? Oh, mon Dieu, mon Dieu. Unlock the door.
Get the key.
I had to do something, and I had to do it fast. I looked around. Then in the bathtub, I saw what I wanted. One of those rubber hoses with a shower attachment that can be pointed in any direction. I turned on the hot water full blast and waited.
Monsieur Diamond!
Monsieur Bouchon?
Mon Dieu, the steam, I cannot see!
Here I am.
I am scalded! You have burnt me!
Give me that gun!
Oh, mon Dieu!
That's right. Now stand back.
Gentlemen!
All right, Bertha, turn off that water.
I am scalded!
Now, you'll live. Oh, that was some face cream.
Mon Dieu! The sapphire! You have taken it!
You won't need it, Bouchon. They'd just take it away from you before they put you in the chair. I persuaded Bouchon, with the help of his gun, which I was holding, to tie up Bertha. Then I knotted some bright red French neckties around his hands and feet and surveyed the situation. There was no phone in the apartment, so I locked the 2 of them in and raced down to a drugstore on the corner. I caught the owner just as he was closing and put in a call to Walt. Then I doubled back to the apartment to keep Bouchon and Bertha company. I thought it was funny that the door was open when I had locked it so carefully. I stopped thinking it was funny when I walked through the door straight into the barrel of an ugly automatic.
Hello, Mr. Diamond.
Well, Yvonne.
You're just in time. We're going to start a treasure hunt.
He has it. He is the one.
Monsieur Bouchon seems to think you picked up a sapphire by mistake, Mr. Diamond. Probably in the excitement of the evening.
It is true. All what I tell, it is true.
You hear what Monsieur Bouchon says. But Monsieur Bouchon tried to kill me tonight. Maybe he also lies.
No, he took it. Name of a thief.
Oh, do be quiet, Monsieur Bouchon. You disturb us. Well, Mr. Diamond?
Oh, come on, Yvonne. You're taking this thing much too seriously.
Mr. Diamond, I've said repeatedly that I like you. But that won't stop me from shooting you, if I have to.
Now, you are intense, aren't you?
I've risked a lot to get that stone. Let's not make it more difficult.
Well, you haven't asked Bertha what she knows.
Bertha?
Sure. Go ahead, ask her.
All right. What do you know about the sapphire, Bertha?
Please!
Oh, Mr. Diamond, I believe you're pulling my leg.
Oh, please. I've got a good answer, but I'm afraid this isn't the time.
Do you have the sapphire?
Oh, for want of a better word, yes.
Give it to me.
Oh, Grandma, what a greedy voice you've developed.
You're wasting time.
Only in a manner of speaking.
Come on, Diamond. I'm not...
Hold it where you are. Drop the gun, miss. Go ahead, drop it.
Well, you certainly took your time, Fatty.
I got here as fast as I could.
I was just running out of words. Wasn't I, Yvonne?
Mm-hmm. You know something, Mr. Diamond.
Tell me, dear.
I'm sure I'll hate myself in the morning. But it's funny. I still like you.
Well, when we got onto it, the whole thing was really pretty simple. Yvonne and Bouchon were running a fancy smuggling racket under a cosmetics cover. Bouchon wanted to make it a one-man operation. So he tried to dissolve the partnership the hard way by killing Yvonne. It didn't work because Mockler found out about the sapphire, got in the way, and stopped the bomb intended for Yvonne. Monsieur Bouchon summed the whole thing up rather neatly on the way to the station house. He said,
Mon Dieu, I should have stood in France.
Dick Powell will return in just a minute.
More people smoke Camels than any other cigarette.
Yes, more people smoke Camels than any other cigarette.
Among the millions of Camel smokers are many stars whose throats are their fortunes. Stars like Reza Stevens, Patrice Munsell, Mario Lanza. Great singers who insist on mildness in their cigarette and find it in Camels.
Friends, make the sensible cigarette test. Smoke only Camels for 30 days and see how mild, how flavorful, how thoroughly enjoyable a cigarette can be.
How mild, how mild, how mild, how mild can a cigarette be? Make the Camel 30-day test and you'll see. Smoke Camels and see.
Here's Dick Powell with a special message.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, if you've ever spent any length of time in a hospital bed, you know how a gift can cheer you up. Every week, the Camel people send gift cigarettes to our hospitalized veterans and servicemen, both in this country and overseas. This week's free Camels go to Veterans Hospitals, Downey, Illinois, and Indianapolis, Indiana, Army and Navy General Hospital, Hot Springs, Arkansas, U.S. Naval Hospital ship, Constellation. Now, until next week, enjoy Camels. I always do.
Dick Powell can now be seen starring in RKO's Cry Danger. Tonight's adventure of Richard Diamond was written by Charles E. Israel with music by Frank Worth. Our director is Helen Mack. Featured in the cast were Arthur Q. Bryan, Joan Banks, James Backus, Theodore Van Eltz, and Sheldon Leonard.
Men, there's pleasure in every pipeful of Prince Albert, the national joy smoke. PA's Choice Tobacco has a rich flavor and a fine, natural fragrance. It's crimp cut for smooth, even burning, and specially treated to ensure against tongue bite. Get Prince Albert, America's largest selling smoking tobacco.
Listen next week for another exciting transcribed adventure of Richard Diamond, starring Dick Powell. This is Your FBI. The official broadcast from the files of the FBI follows immediately. Stay tuned. This program came to you from Hollywood. This is the American Broadcasting Company.
The Adventures of the Saint, starring Vincent Price. The Saint, based on characters created by Leslie Charteris and known to millions from books, magazines, and motion pictures. The Robin Hood of modern crime now comes to radio, starring Hollywood's brilliant and talented actor Vincent Price as the Saint.
Taxi! Taxi! 4500 Sutter, please.
It's kind of light, ain't it?
Yes, it is.
Comes this time of night, I figure a guy should order...
4,500 Sutter, please.
Mind you, I don't like to get personal, you
Driver.
know, but, yeah?
Of all the cabs in San Francisco, most of them operated by drivers who mind their own business. Why did I have to get your cab?
Well, I like... Who are you going to see at 4,500?
My name is Simon Templar. I'm 6'1" tall, and I have a birthmark on my right shoulder blade. My income for last year was...
That's all right. Evading the question, huh?
I give up. I'm going to visit a man named Clarence Quigley.
Clarence Quigley?
Clarence Quigley.
You going to see this alleged Clarence Quigley
Look,
about...
he's got a collection of paintings. I like to look at paintings. Maybe that will seem odd to you, but...
Oh, come now. No temper. Now, if I was your wife, you'd have to do better than that, you know.
Oh. So how much do I owe you, and go away?
Would you think I was soaking you if I suggested $3?
I would.
As one man of the world to another, let's make it $3 anyway.
Let's just be yokels and make it 50 cents. Here you are.
Well, Hey, is that blonde giving you the eye or me?
Blonde?
Yeah, the one coming down the street towards us.
Oh, yeah.
Best foot forward.
I never saw her before in my life.
Ellsworth, dear. Oh, Ellsworth, dear.
I beg your pardon, but that's my neck you've got your arms around, Miss...
A man named Clarence Quigley, huh?
Driver, stop heckling. Look, miss, whatever your name is, the way you're strangling me is a pleasant way to be strangled, but...
Ellsworth, dear, you sound so cold.
I'm not Ellsworth, dear. I think I can honestly say I have never been Ellsworth, dear.
You're not?
No.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you were. Or maybe I just hoped you were.
Don't you know Ellsworth, dear, when you see him?
No, I don't, I guess.
But,
I saw you, and then the name came to me, so I just thought...
who is Ellsworth?
I don't know.
Well, I suppose a certain amount of confusion about who or what Ellsworth is understandable,
but that isn't the worst.
It isn't?
No, you see, not only don't I know who Ellsworth is, but...
Yes?
I don't even know who I am.
What I want to know in a general sort of way is how Mr. Clarence Quigley is going to feel.
Driver, would you mind concentrating on your driving?
You know, he's liable to be frustrated, like, I'm taking you and a lady right back the way you started.
My apartment, yes, because Miss X needs help.
Oh, I feel as though I'm imposing on you, Mr. Tim.
Nonsense. The hour's late. You couldn't very well go wandering about the streets indefinitely.
Especially in that hat.
Is anything wrong with my hat?
Not a thing. No, it's very charming and immaculate.
Yeah, also, it resembles a bird's home away from home. Well, mister, we have returned from where we went away.
Good. Miss X?
Thank you.
Huh?
You're going to keep on being a yokel, huh?
Here.
Mm-hmm. This time only half a yokel. Well, goodbye. You know where I'm going?
No.
I'm going to lurk outside of Clarence Quigley's. I think tonight he's a fellow who needs a friend.
I need one, too.
Oh, come along now. There you go. Now, take your hat off and make yourself comfortable.
All right. Oh, I'm so afraid and lost.
Quiet now. Now, let's take a look at your bag.
Here.
Mm-hmm. Usual odds and ends and a compact, initialed. DM. DM, does that suggest anything?
DM? No, it doesn't. Nothing means anything. All I remember is being outside an art gallery on Sutter.
Yeah, you're well dressed. Compact's gold, no latchkey, which means you probably don't live alone, which could also mean you've been missed.
Your phone?
Yes, the police, Missing Persons Bureau. They, hello? Oh, get me Inspector Murray, Thanks, I'll hold on.
Oh, I hope maybe they know about me. Oh.
What's the matter?
Oh, I just touched the back of my head. It's terribly painful.
Come here. Huh. Yeah, bruised the size of what I wish my bank account was. And there's the cause of your amnesia. Hello, Inspector. Simon Templar. Inspector, your language is deplorable. Inspector, I'm looking for someone, a blonde. Inspector, no. No, well, Maybe, but not tonight. At any rate, the girl I'm looking for is around 22 years old, blonde hair, blue eyes, height 5'3" or thereabouts, wearing a street suit, brown white blouse with ruffles at the neck and... What? Oh, you're looking for her, too. Her name's Dorothy Moore. Why do you want her? Oh, I see. I guess you've got priority. Goodbye.
They want me.
Yeah, so it seems.
Because I've been reported missing?
Partially that.
What else do they want me for?
Murder. Here, now, try another cup of coffee. Dorothy, I guess we'll call you that unless we get evidence to the contrary. Dorothy Moore would fit the initials on your compact.
What am I going to do?
You stay here and wait for me.
Where are you going?
Well, from the information I've been able to get on the phone, your guardian, a man named Matthew Schreiber, was shot and killed earlier this evening. You disappeared. That's all the information in the public domain at the moment. I'm going to look for more.
At my house?
Yes.
Or shouldn't you turn me over to the police?
Oh, well, actually, I don't really know that you are Dorothy Moore. I'd like to know a little more about the murder itself before coming to any decisions.
You mean you want to help me?
Yes.
I need help so, because, you see, what's so terrible about it all is that I don't remember anything at all, so I can't even say I didn't murder anyone.
Hello.
Hello.
Well, it's been fun meeting you. Goodbye.
Now, wait a minute. Don't shut the door.
Why not?
I'm coming in.
Oh, all right. I hate to seem prying, but who are you?
Simon Templar.
An attractive name, much more distinguished than mine.
Oh, what's your name?
Walters. Not the most glamorous name in the world, but I'm a butler, so I bear up.
Good. Where is everybody?
In the library. They're so well bred.
Oh, who is in the library?
Mrs. Atkins, the housekeeper, the Cassandra of our day.
A gloomy lady prophesying disaster,
Yes. And, of course, there's Mr. Tinsley.
Mr. Tinsley?
A strange fellow who spends a good deal of his time sitting on small horses and hitting a large ball with a long wooden stick.
A polo player.
Doesn't matter what you call it. It's no job for a grown man.
What's his relationship to Miss Moore?
Oh, let's not start prying, shall we?
Expound?
Well, to breach your confidence, he's engaged to marry Miss Moore, if and when she's found, and if she happens to be innocent of our guardian's assassination.
Oh. Anyone else in the library?
No. Mr. Schreiber, dear departed soul, is detained elsewhere, at the morgue. He was shot in the library.
Oh, that's a bad place to be shot. Usually fatal. Suppose you take me to the library. Tell me, why did the police suspect Miss Moore?
Because of me. You see, I told them that I heard shots in the house. I left my quarters on the gallop, ran towards the library. Just before I got there, the door opened and Miss Dorothy ran out. Ran down the hall and out the front door.
Is that true?
My dear Mr. Templar, if not, would I have told the police otherwise?
I don't know.
Besides, it isn't good form to suspect the butler. The library, sir.
Okay.
Mrs. Atkins, Mr. Tinsley, Mr. Templar.
What do you want?
I'm looking for Miss Moore.
So, young man, are the police.
Why?
Her guardian was murdered. All his money goes to her, and she's disappeared. Perhaps she didn't murder Mr. Schreiber.
But you wouldn't bet on it.
Perhaps I did. I hated him. Perhaps Mr. Tinsley there did.
Now, look here.
Isn't he priceless? Now, look here. Such a typical phrase. So typical, I wonder if he can really be so stupid.
I love Dorothy, and...
No one has questioned that. But what is it about her that you love? The money she was to get when Mr. Schreiber died? The money you wouldn't have got if you'd married Dorothy? Against Mr. Schreiber's wishes?
Mr. Schreiber didn't approve of the marriage?
He hesitated about it, but we were working on him.
And then became impatient.
Now, look here.
There
you
he goes again.
I resent that.
Good. It is now on record that you resent it.
How about Walters?
Walters?
Yes, what motive would he have?
What makes you think he has one?
Oh, I'm the hopeful type.
Walters is a man with a criminal past. Whether or not he got tired of his upright life here, I cannot say.
But it wouldn't surprise you. What may surprise both of you, however, is an odd fact. Dorothy Moore is suffering from total amnesia.
Amnesia? What do you mean?
She remembers nothing of her past, herself, neither name nor habitation.
How horrible.
How convenient.
Wait a minute. How do you know that?
Why get around?
Well, then you must know where she is. You've got to tell me.
Mr. Tinsley is now being the ardent lover.
I can't tell you.
Why?
Well, whoever shot Schreiber, there's very little doubt that Dorothy saw the killer, but Dorothy doesn't remember. The killer, therefore, would have an urgent interest in getting hold of Dorothy before she did remember, and making sure that she would never remember anything again. Well, good night, you lovely people. Dorothy? 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 Dorothy!
Oh, you again.
It's me again.
Did you like the place so much the first time?
Where's Dorothy?
Miss Moore?
Yes, did she come back here?
Back? From where?
She was at my apartment. When I got there, she was gone.
She did come back here. She didn't ring.
Let's find out. Tinsley and Mrs. Atkins still around?
Mrs. Atkins has gone up to bed, I think. As for Mr. Tinsley, I imagine he's sampling the whiskey.
Yeah, we'll find out. Tinsley,
Oh, it's you.
Yes, where's Dorothy?
You're the one who knows.
I'm the one who knew. Did she come back here?
I haven't seen her.
Walters, where's Mrs. Atkins' room?
This way, sir.
Come along, Tinsley. I'd like both of you in sight.
If you insist.
Mrs. Atkins will not be pleased at having her sleep interrupted.
I'm not pleased either.
This is her room, sir.
Oh, thanks.
The old girl must be asleep.
Then we must wake her up.
She's a very sound sleeper.
Then we'll go in and wake her.
Wow. How do you like that?
Mrs. Atkins. Strung up to a beam. Anyone got a knife?
Yes, here you are.
Now, we'll cut the rope and get her down.
The bed's over there.
Well, that's that.
Is she dead?
She's dead.
Poor old girl. Although, you know something?
What?
She must have killed the old man. Schreiber, I mean. Then she committed suicide. In remorse, I mean. For heaven's sakes, Templar, stop playing with that rope.
This is a very interesting rope.
Is it? Why?
Because it proves, you see, that she didn't commit suicide. She was murdered.
Templar?
Yes, Inspector Murray.
I understand you don't think that Mrs. Atkins committed suicide.
I know she didn't.
Well, while the boys are playing with fingerprints and stuff, would you mind explaining to a poor benighted member of the lower intellectual classes, a cop like me?
Oh, Murray, now stop pulling my leg. You're one of the brainiest men I know.
Then why do you always beat me to a case?
Oh, I'm prettier.
Uh-huh. Now, about this alleged phony suicide.
Well, take a look at the rope with which Mrs. Atkins is supposed to have hanged herself.
Well, let's see. The rope was thrown over the beam there. I'm afraid you're right, Templar.
Yeah, it wasn't hard to spot. Her weight would have pulled the rope sharply down over the beam. The fibers of the rope, therefore, should have slanted upward.
Instead of which they slant down, indicating that somebody put the rope around Mrs. Atkins' neck and then hauled her up. We were supposed to think that Mrs. Atkins committed suicide as a confession of guilt. Which leaves us where?
In the Schreiber home.
I'm more interested in where the girl is.
Dorothy Moore?
Uh-huh.
Why?
Because I have...
Hey, Mary. Look, coming through the door.
I'm not sure. Simon.
Oh, hello, Dorothy.
I don't know exactly how I got here, but I don't recognize the place at all. Yet I should, shouldn't I?
Yes, you should, Miss Moore, because this is where you live. But I'm afraid you're not going to stay very long.
What do you mean?
I'm placing you under arrest on suspicion of murder.
You know, I love police headquarters. They're so romantic.
Uh-huh.
Murray, how are you going to prove anything against that girl if she's suffering total amnesia?
By proving that her amnesia is a fake.
Oh, how?
I have an alienist coming over here to look at one of our guests. I'll have him see Miss Moore, too. He's due any minute. I'll go get the girl now.
I wonder. Oh, the other door. Come in.
Hello. Well, you're not Murray. I was supposed...
Who are you?
Doll, of course. What's the matter with you? What are you complaining of?
But I'm not the one...
Come. We've got to get to the bottom of these things, don't we?
I suppose so.
Now, when you were a little boy, what did you want most of all?
To be a big boy.
Mm-hmm. Are you afraid of the dark?
No.
No? You are not afraid because you have little friends who come to you in the dark, perhaps, eh?
No. Now, why are you afraid of the dark?
Oh, it's a long, long story. And,
You know, you don't look at all well.
Well, I don't feel so good either.
No, you should see a doctor.
Thank you. I think I will.
Goodbye.
Oh, Templar.
Yeah, your alienist was here, Murray, but he left.
Alienist? Well, I just phoned him and told him not to come. The district attorney wouldn't hold the girl. Insufficient evidence and ballistics. Ran a paraffin test. No proof that she'd fired a gun.
But the man who was just in here, Dahl, I think his name was?
Dahl?
Uh-huh.
He's not the alienist. He's the guy the alienist was coming to examine. He's nuts.
Oh, dear.
Well, I guess you're happy now that we can't hold the girl.
No, because while you were holding her, things were safe. Now, Murray, let's go visit.
Go visit where?
The Schreiber house. A house where 2 people have died. A house very convenient for murder.
Yes?
It's no Oz, Walters. We're coming in.
Yes, sir.
Dorothy's home?
Yes, sir.
She got here when?
10 minutes ago, perhaps.
Well, we'll go to the library.
Yes, sir.
She got here 10 minutes ago, and then?
She sat in this room for a few minutes, made a phone call, and went up to bed. She tried to phone you, Mr. Templar.
I'll wake her up and get her down here. Hold on. Tinsley around?
In the guest room, playing solitaire, I think.
Get him down here, too.
That I will, sir.
And Walters.
Yes?
You come back, too.
Sure.
Having fun, Templar?
I don't care very much for this stage of any case, but
What are you doing with that telephone?
Hiding it under the couch here.
Are you being subtle again?
Again? Oh, you flatter me.
Simon.
Hello, Dorothy. Sorry to have had you waked, but
I wasn't asleep. I was trying to remember.
You will if you get the chance. Tinsley's here in the house, isn't he?
Yes, he is.
For heaven's sakes, is a man never to get any peace?
You know Inspector Murray, Mr. Tinsley?
Oh, yes. The policeman.
Oh, look, now get off your polo pony and... Where's Walters?
By now, on his way to Canada, I imagine.
Dorothy, get on the phone right away.
The phone? Yes, of course. Oh, well, there doesn't seem to be one in here. Perhaps in the next room. Why do you want me to phone?
I don't.
But you just said...
Dorothy, didn't there used to be a phone in this room?
Oh, I don't know. I don't remember.
Oh, yes, your amnesia. But you remember everything that happened since the blow on your head, don't you?
Well, of course.
But then equally, of course, since you were in this room a very little while ago, and since you used a phone in here, you should have remembered that. Why didn't you?
Well, I don't know. It slipped my mind.
No, Dorothy, it didn't slip your mind. You were merely being over-careful.
What does that mean?
It means that you are not now, nor ever were, suffering from amnesia.
Why should I pretend to have amnesia?
Because you killed your uncle. You knew you'd need something to help you out in court, so you wandered about until you found someone on whom you could try out your amnesia. That happened to be me.
You're just saying those things without proof. Besides, there was a paraffin test.
It indicates merely that you wore gloves when you shot your uncle.
It indicates I might have warned them. If I'd shot him, you can't prove I did.
I can prove your amnesia was phony, that along with some other things.
How can you prove it?
Very simple. Your hat.
What?
When you arrived at my apartment, you took your hat off, discovered a large bruise on the back of your head. That was to supply a plausible reason for your amnesia. But, Dorothy, as I remarked to the cab driver at the time, your hat was immaculate, untouched. You're asking us to believe that the killer knocked you out and then carefully put your hat back on your head again?
I'm not asking you to believe anything. I'm going.
Oh, what a charming revolver. The one you used on your uncle?
It still has bullets in it, so don't try to stop me.
Dorothy, you didn't ask me how I could be so sure the killer hadn't done that business with your hat.
I don't care.
I'm so sure because of Walter's statement. Remember, he saw you rush out immediately after the shot?
All right, you're smart, but you'll never stop me.
Perhaps not, but Walters, who's right behind you, will.
Oh, no, you can't fool me with
He
that.
wasn't trying to, Miss Dorothy. I think I'd better...
You're no gentleman. You knocked Miss Moore out with a bottle.
Yes, sir.
But you said you were going to Canada.
You misunderstood me, sir. I merely said I was going to get some Canada Dry. Now the bottle's ruined. That's too bad.
Oh, never mind, Walters. No harm done. Inspector Murray, you'll take Miss Moore, and I'll take an old-fashioned.
You have been listening to another adventure of the Saint, the Robin Hood of modern crime. And now here is our star, Vincent Price.
Ladies and gentlemen, next week most of you will be enjoying a wonderful Thanksgiving dinner. And while you're eating your Thanksgiving turkey and counting your blessings of the past year, think. Think for a moment of the millions of people who don't get enough to eat. Think, and then send your subscription right away for a food package to be delivered to some needy family in Europe. Send your contribution to CARE, C-A-R-E, New York. This is Vincent Price inviting you to join us again next week at this same time for another exciting adventure of the Saint. Good night.
Tonight's script of The Saint was written by Lou Vittes. Our cast included Peggy Weber, Ted Von Elst, Jerry Hausner, Tom Brown, and Dan O'Hurley. The music was composed and conducted by Harry Zimmerman. The Saint, based on characters created by Leslie Charteris, is a James L. Safier production and is directed by Thomas A. McAvity. Vincent Price is soon to be seen in Robert Lippert's production of The Baron of Arizona. All you Saint fans will be glad to know that the Saint comic books are on sale at all newsstands. Your announcer, Merrill Ross. This is the Mutual Broadcasting System.
Inspector Faraday, let's grab this guy Small right now if Waterman's on his trail.
Wait a minute, Logan. Smith, tell Waterman to hold the wire a minute.
Right.
Now, look, fellows. Waterman thinks he's found Jack Small. And that's great if he's found him. But we want to be sure. Do we know for sure that Small is in town?
Well, I think if we piece all the evidence together, Inspector, we'll be positive.
All right, Logan, you've been trying to find him. What do you know?
I spotted his car on the east side the day before yesterday.
His car, huh? That doesn't mean he was driving it.
No. But I got a look inside it, and his famous lucky piece was hanging from the gear shift.
Yeah?
Small might park with his car, but never with that lucky piece of his. He's in town, all right.
At least we know his car is, Logan.
It means he is too, Inspector. A man in working clothes driving a car that fits the description of Smalls was in a minor accident yesterday.
Yeah?
But he drove away from the scene. And that checks with the dope we had on Smalls' pals.
Read me that report, Logan, huh?
Okay. 2 weeks ago, one of Small's former stooges bought several pairs of overalls, heavy gloves, and a workman's cap and lunchbox in a downtown store.
Yeah, so what? Maybe he was buying them for himself.
Oh, no, Inspector. The clothes are much too large. He hasn't been seen wearing them.
This is getting interesting. What we found out about work clothes fits in with what Waterman knows about Small. Small joined a gang of workmen in the West Side quarry. Smith, Waterman still on the line?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm satisfied we finally found this guy. I'll take that phone now, Smith.
Yeah.
Thanks. Hello, Waterman?
Oh, good morning, Inspector. How are you?
Fine, Waterman. Where are you?
In a candy store about a block away from the quarry.
In a candy store? Where's Small?
In the quarry working?
Yeah?
You don't want me to go after him with a shovel and a pickaxe, do you?
No.
I'm as close to him as I can get. And incidentally, he's working under the name of Bigelow.
Bigelow, huh? Are you sure it's Small?
Well, I wouldn't be sitting here in this candy store if I weren't sure, Inspector. I think you can trust me.
I know.
Grab Bigelow and you'll have Small.
Well, we don't want to take him while he's in the quarry. Some of the other workmen might get hurt. You know where he lives?
Yeah, I found that out before I found out where he works. He's living at 18 Western Avenue.
18 Western Avenue.
With one of the workmen in the quarry. A chap named Carter.
Fine, Waterman. Good work.
Thanks.
Follow Small when he leaves work. Call in then, and the boys and I will drop in and pick him up.
And now meet Dick Calmer as Boston Blackie. Enemy to those who make him an enemy. Friend to those who have no friend.
Oh, Blackie, if it's all right with you, I'd like to just sit around your apartment this evening. I don't want to go anywhere.
You're just saying that because you don't want me to think you're a good time Charlotte, aren't you?
Good time, Charlotte. Oh, Blackie, you do more things with words than you do with locks and safes. Well, what about it? Am I cordially invited?
Yes, you are. To pay a call on a friend of Shorty's.
Oh, have you heard from Shorty?
Mm-hmm. Telephone this afternoon. Wonderful friend, that guy.
I know he is. What friend of his do we have to call on?
It's a fellow named Jack Small. He's owed Shorty $500 for quite a while, and Shorty's just found out where he's living.
And he wants you to collect it for him, huh?
That's right. Small now goes under the name of Bill Bigelow, but the apartment is listed under the name of Small's roommate, Eddie Carter.
Well, why does Small call himself Bigelow, Blackie? And whom is he hiding from?
Faraday, I imagine. Small got lost right after the Wallace Johnson killing, and it strikes me that the good inspector would like to get his hands on him.
I see. This ought to be interesting. You and I are becoming collection agents.
That we are. Tonight, we'll go to see Mr. Small. In fact, we'll pay him a visit and see that he pays Shorty the $500.
All right, everybody down at the end of the quarry. Out of the way. We're getting ready to blast. Hey, get that truck out of there. Drive it straight out about 100 yards. That's right, get it moving. Okay, all clear. Okay, ready? Joe, hit it! Wait! Hey, Carter, what's the matter? Carter!
Why didn't you wait? Did you hear me yell?
No, that's what Joe set off the dynamite. What's wrong?
Wrong! Bill Bigelow was down in that East End when the blast went off.
What?
He didn't have a chance of getting out in time. Now he's buried under tons of solid rock.
Detective Waterman.
Oh, good afternoon, Barbara.
Am I going to be able to sell you some candy today, or do you just want to use our phone again?
The phone, Barbara. I have something on my mind, but it's not candy. You can hear the blasting in the quarry from here, can't you?
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't it bother you?
Oh, it used to at first, but Mr. Talbot and I have been here 6 months now, and we don't pay any attention to it. Oh, have some peppermints?
Later, thank you, Barbara.
Oh, but these are free. They're samples. A salesman left them this morning.
Oh, so that's the reason you keep them loose on the counter, huh?
Uh-huh.
Well, maybe I'll accept your offer on the way out.
Please do, Mr. Waterman. They'll make you feel better, maybe. You look terribly upset.
Yes, I am. And my boss, Inspector Faraday, will be, too. Well, I'd better get him on the phone now.
Oh, I hope it isn't as serious as you think, Detective Waterman.
I'm afraid it is. Excuse me, Barbara.
Sure.
Oh, say, Barbara.
Yes?
Did a man named Bill Bigelow, who lived here with a fellow named Carter, ever come in here?
No, sir, he didn't.
I just wanted to check.
Faraday speaking.
Hello, Faraday. This is Waterman.
Waterman, what's up? You were supposed to wait till Bigelow got home and then call us. Don't tell me he got away from you.
Sorry to disappoint you, Inspector. He didn't get away from me or a dynamite blast.
Huh?
He's lying at the bottom of the West Side quarry with thousands of tons of rock on top of him.
What? Is he dead?
I imagine so, don't you?
Killed in the quarry, huh? How do you know it was Small?
Well, I was at the quarry when the report came in that a man named Bigelow was caught in the blast. Bigelow is the name Small was going under.
So he was crushed to death, huh?
Yeah.
Well, he got just what he deserved.
Yeah, they all get it sooner or later, Inspector. Any instructions?
No, just come on back to headquarters, make out a report. It'll be weeks before we can dig Small's body out of that quarry, I guess.
Yes, it will. But you can consider him officially dead, starting now. See you at headquarters. Bye. Well, thanks for the use of the phone, Barbara.
Oh, you're welcome.
Another blast at the quarry. You know, I still don't see how you stand it.
Oh, I don't even hear it. But after what I did over here on the telephone just now, I guess I won't see you again, will I?
Oh, you might, if those free peppermints of yours are good enough. I'll take a handful. But don't tell your boss I'm not a cash customer.
Her boss knows, young man. But he doesn't mind.
Oh, Mr. Talbot, this is Mr. Waterman. He's a detective.
Oh, hello, Mr. Talbot.
Hello, son.
Hey, nice shop you have here.
Hey, thank you. It's in good hands when Barbara's behind the counter. Hey, Barbara?
Well, there hasn't been much to do so far today, Mr. Talbot. I guess you didn't like the birthday present I bought you last month.
Huh?
I bought him a tie, Mr. Waterman, only he never wears it.
Wear it? Of course I wear it. I'm wearing it now.
Oh.
Look.
Oh, of course, I didn't see it at first. People who have beards don't have to wear ties. Mr. Waterman was looking for a man who called himself Bill Bigelow, Mr. Talbot, but he was killed in the quarry this morning.
Killed in the quarry? Oh, that's too bad.
Yes, it is too bad. He was killed right after a blast like that one. Buried under rock. Well, glad to meet you, Mr. Talbot. Goodbye, Barbara. I'll take you up on that offer of free peppermints again sometime.
All right.
Goodbye.
Goodbye. He's an awfully nice man, don't you think so, Mr. Talbot?
Yes. Quite a nice young man.
Too bad he wasn't able to catch the man he was looking for. I suppose he's very disappointed.
I imagine so. Free peppermint drops. Think I'll have some, too.
Yes? We would like to see Bill Bigelow, please. And incidentally, I know he's really Jack Small.
Oh. Well, what do you want to see him for?
Never mind what for. Just tell him that Boston Blackie wants to see him.
I don't really want to see him. I just came along as a bodyguard.
Oh, come in. Come in, both of you.
That's better. Mary?
Thank you.
I'm Carter, Jack's roommate, but I'm afraid you can't see Jack just now, Blackie.
Why not?
He's dead.
Dead?
Why does this always happen to us?
This happened to him, lady. It was an accident. We were blasting at the quarry this morning. He was buried under the rocks.
Uh-oh.
Oh, always right, Blackie. There goes Shorty's $500.
Jack owed a friend of yours $500?
That's right.
Well, Jack and I were good friends, best. I'll pay his debts for him.
You'll pay the $500?
Sure. Here, Blackie. 5 C-notes. Satisfied?
Well, sure. Sure, thanks a lot.
Jack wasn't a bad guy. He told me if anything ever happened to him, to square his debts for him. He even gave me money for it a couple of months ago. Guess must have had a hunch.
Yes, I guess he did. But I think it was the law he thought would fall on him, not a pile of rocks. Well, come on, Mary. We got what we came for.
I guess we did, Blackie. Well, goodbye, Mr. Carter. Thank you.
It's all right. So long, both of you.
Goodbye.
Shorty ought to thank you, Blackie. Somehow I don't think Carter would have given up that money if you hadn't asked for it.
I don't know about that, Mary. No, come on, let's go out to the car.
Darling, you have that certain preoccupied look in your eye. I don't like it. What's wrong?
Well, it seems strange to me that Carter would pay a dead man's debts just because he was his roommate.
Well, Small gave him the money to do it. He said that.
I wonder if it's true, though. And right now, I wonder if his death was accidental or...
Or what, Blackie?
It's just too much of a coincidence that Jack dies on the day that we come out to see him. And Carter gave up that money much too easily. Mary, there was something phony about that explosion, and I'm going to blast out the truth.
And now back to Boston Blackie. Inspector Faraday has definite evidence that Jack Small, alias Bill Bigelow, a murderer, is in town working in a stone quarry. But just as police close in on the gangster, he is reported buried under tons of falling rock blasted out of the side of the quarry. Blackie, unaware of Small's death, goes to see the gangster to collect a $500 debt, gets the money from Carter, Small's roommate, and learns of the gangster's death. We now return to our story to find Blackie in his apartment, playing checkers with Mary Wesley.
Now see what you can do with what's left on the checkerboard, Mary.
Well, Blackie, I still have 2 kings and 2 men. I'll win yet.
Sure. If we play long enough, you're bound to get lucky.
Lucky nothing. I'm shrewd. All right. There's my move.
Let's see. It's not bad. Here's mine.
Oh, dear. Now what do I do?
You get shrewd. You've got a couple of possible moves there.
I can't see one.
Well, keep looking. You'll find one, but I warn you, I may be on the phone only an hour or two, so you'll have to hurry.
That's mean.
Hello.
Hello, Blackie?
Oh, hello, Inspector. I'm glad you called back. Look, I want to talk to you about Jack Small.
Oh, you do you?
There's my move, Blackie.
Hold the wire, Faraday.
What for?
Never mind what for.
Where'd
you move, Mary? Oh, never mind. I see it.
You see it, but what can you do about it?
I don't know yet. I'll make this move. See what you can do about that.
Oh, dear.
All right, Faraday. What were you saying about Jack Small?
I suppose you know all about it, huh?
Yes, he was killed in a blast at the West Side Quarry this afternoon.
Blackie, can't I have one case to myself? You'll have to butt into everything.
You mean to tell me you realize this is a case? Faraday, sometimes
There,
you
I have moved, Blackie.
Blackie.
Can you get out of that?
Now, hold the wire, Faraday.
Look, what is this?
Checkers, just a minute.
Checkers? Now, look here, Blackie.
Hold the wire, will you, Faraday?
This is ridiculous.
Let's see. Oh, Mary, are you going to be sorry?
Why?
1, 2. That's why.
Ooh! Just 1 king and 2 men left.
Never say die, Mary.
Oh, golly.
I've left my king in a very tough spot there, I think.
You have?
Mm-hmm. See if you can figure out why. Now, about that accident at the quarry this morning, Faraday.
Accident? That wasn't any accident.
No? What makes you think so?
I'm smart, that's all. I think he was murdered.
You do? And by whom?
By one of his gang. Murdered to keep him from talking when we grabbed him. Somebody must have known we were closing in on him.
And killed him to shut him up, huh? Not bad thinking, Faraday. Not bad at all. For you?
What's wrong with it?
Plenty. Wait a minute.
What,
Hey
again?
there, Mary.
Oh, Blackie, I hate you.
I know. Because I'm mean and you're only shrewd. Listen, Faraday.
Listen to what? You playing checkers?
No, listen to this. You think Small is dead, don't you?
Yeah, murdered.
Well, I don't.
I suppose you think it was all an accident, huh?
Faraday, I think Jack Small, or Bill Bigelow, or whatever you want to call him, is still alive, which is more than I can say for you. Goodbye. My move, Mary?
Mm-hmm. And I think I really have you this time.
Oh, you do, huh? Well, just watch this.
Ooh! You won again.
Sorry, Mary. Let's quit now, huh? I'm thinking.
Oh, then we play one more game, because if you're thinking, I have a chance to win. By the way, what are you thinking about, that Jack Small fellow?
Yes, Mary. I'm thinking that while we're playing checkers, Jack Small is playing dead. Let's go see his roommate, Carter. I think the next move is his.
good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Huh. Still blasting in the quarry, aren't they? Even on my day off.
Oh, do you work in the quarry?
5 days a week I do.
Oh.
I'm looking for some homemade cookies.
Homemade cookies?
Yeah, I understand you carry them here.
Yes, just a minute, please. I'll see if we have them.
Sure, I'm in no hurry. No hurry at all.
Mr. Talbert.
Yes, Barbara. Come in.
Mr. Talbert, there's a man in the store asking for homemade cookies.
Oh, there is?
Yes, sir. You said to tell you if anyone ever came in and asked for them.
Yes, my dear, I did. Thank you very much. Show the man back here into my living room, will you, Barbara? Yes, show the man in at once.
Seems to me, Blackie, that Mr. Carter isn't at home.
Seems to me that my knuckles are getting sore from knocking, too. Maybe we ought to just try the door, Mary.
Oh, that's the hard way. Blackie, look there on the floor.
I'm looking.
Is he dead?
Very. It's Carter, all right. Well, this is what I like. I come up to ask a question, and I find a corpse.
We better get out of here before Inspector Faraday walks in. All he has to do is find you with a dead body.
I'll leave when I'm through looking in Carter's pockets.
Oh.
All empty, except for these.
What are those, mothballs?
No, they seem to be those little peppermint drops.
Well, all right, but come on, let's get out of here.
We're talking about Faraday, Mary, and that's his voice.
I might have known.
What? Now, look, Waterman, if this fellow Blackie, you.
Hello, Faraday. And don't say I killed Carter. He was dead when I got here.
Honestly, Inspector.
Quiet, Miss Worsley. Blackie, I'll talk to you later. Well, Waterman, now they're both dead.
And we're at a dead end, Inspector Faraday. Well, Blackie, I don't think we've ever met. My name's Waterman.
Yes, I've heard of you, Miss Wesley, Detective Waterman.
How do you do, Detective?
How was he killed, Blackie?
Stabbed.
First Small was murdered, now Carter. Fine.
That means I've got to get to work. Hey, these things are good.
What things?
These peppermints. Have some, Inspector.
No. Put those things away, will you? You've been tossing them in your mouth all morning.
Well, let's see one of those peppermints, Waterman.
Why, that's funny.
Wait a minute, Mary. May I have one, Waterman?
Oh, sure. Here, have a couple.
Thanks. But tell me, where'd you get them?
Where? At a candy store right there. They're free. They keep them on the counter.
Oh, I see. Now, let's go, Mary.
Would it be all wrong for me to ask where to?
Not at all. I'm going to find out how good my hunches are. I want to know what a mint meant in this murder.
Here's the candy store we're looking for, Blackie. Oh! What do you suppose that noise was?
Blasting in the quarry down the street, probably.
Oh.
Mary, Carter had peppermints in his pocket when we found him. And Waterman was eating peppermints. He said he got in the store.
I see, and you think there's a connection, do you?
Yes, and this store is the connection.
Oh! There goes another blast.
Yes, and that blast didn't have anything more to do with killing anybody than that one that was supposed to have killed Small.
Blackie, do you mean you really think that Small is alive?
I have a strong hunch he is, and... Oh, I just had an idea.
And I just know I'm not going to like it.
Look, here comes a delivery boy on a bicycle.
Oh? What are you going to do, ask him for a ride?
No, watch and see if the delivery is for the store here. Hey, he's stopping right at the door.
Hey, boy! Boy!
Yes, sir?
Hey, come here a minute.
Yes, sir. What do you want, sir?
You delivering that package to this candy store here?
Yeah, I'm from the drugstore. Oh, what's it to you?
Well, nothing much, only I'll deliver it for you.
Oh, no, you don't, mister.
$5.
Hey, mister, take the package. So long and thanks.
Blackie, I don't like what you're up to, and I like it less because I don't understand it.
Everything's going to be all right, Mary. Now, let's see what's in this package here.
Oh, you can get into trouble doing this.
I can make trouble for somebody, you mean? I was afraid of this.
What's in the package?
Nothing at all that means anything. Toothpaste, shaving cream, soap, and mouthwash. I just wasted $5.
Uh-huh, Smarty. All right, now what?
Now, I'll deliver the package. Wait here, will you, Mary?
Oh, dear, I know it.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, beautiful. Free peppermints.
Oh, yes, help yourself. Something I can do for you?
Well, yes, but first I can do something for you.
Oh?
A delivery boy just asked me to bring this in.
Oh, yes, Mr. Talbot ordered something from the drugstore. This must be it.
Did you say Mr. Talbot?
Yes, he owns this place.
I see. Mr. Talbot certainly has a fine stock of candy here.
Oh, it's the best. Could I interest you in any?
No, I don't think I care for anything right now. Not anything I see, that is.
Oh, you're looking for something else?
Yes, as a matter of fact, I am.
Something special?
Very special.
Something like, well, homemade cookies?
Yes. Homemade cookies.
Just a minute, I'll be right with you. Oh, I'll take that package with me if you don't mind.
Of course. Here you are.
Yes, Barbara?
Here's a package for you. There's a man outside looking for homemade cookies.
Homemade cookies?
Yes. Shall I show him in?
Just a minute, dear.
Yes, sir. Oh, what are you looking for in that drawer, Mr. Talbot?
Oh, nothing important, my dear. Just something I might need. Yes. Show the man in, will you?
Yes, right away. Would you come in here a minute, sir? Mr. Talbot would like to see you.
Why, thank you.
That'll be all, Barbara. Well, come right in, sir. Come right in.
Thank you.
I said that'll be all, Barbara.
Yes, sir.
You asked for some homemade cookies, did you?
Yes, in a way. That's a very fine beard you have, sir. Who are you, Santa Claus or the man who came to dinner?
What do you mean, sir?
I mean, Mr. Talbot, this is a cute gag, but I also think the laugh is on you. You are Jack Small, aren't you?
Why...
And don't reach for your gun.
No? Then I'll reach for you with this.
I can reach, too. Oh. And maybe I can't knock your beard off, Mr. Small, but I can sure pull it off.
No, don't.
Too late,
Don't.
Jack. It's off. Well, look here. It was a phony, wasn't it? And so are you, pal.
All right, so what?
So you know what, Mr. Small? Your beard wasn't real, but right now you're going to have to take something else on the chin that is. Sit down, Waterman. Sit down. Relax. Glad to see you.
Thanks, Blackie.
Glad you dropped in. Say, did Small tell you why he killed Carter?
Oh, sure. The same old story. You know it, don't you?
I think so. Small killed Carter because Carter was the only one who knew that Small wasn't killed in the quarry and had adopted the identity of Talbot. I really suspected Carter knew something from the first.
You did? How?
Carter paid a debt for Small after telling us Small was dead.
He paid you the money to keep you off this case, Blackie.
I figured there was something screwy somewhere. I suppose you know who was killed in the quarry blast, don't you?
Uh-huh. Nobody. That was the little plan worked out by Carter and Small. They planned it a long time, too, I understand.
6 months ago, I'd say.
Mm-hmm.
About the time Small took on the part-time identity of Talbot, the candy store owner with the beard.
Yeah, that's about it. But you know, Small still doesn't know how you knew that beard of his was false. Yeah, he says you seemed so sure of it the minute you came into the room.
Well, I was sure of it, Waterman.
Hmm?
Small had just received a package from the drugstore. There was shaving soap in the package.
Oh.
A man with a real beard doesn't use shaving soap, does he?
No, but he has to keep himself clean-shaven so that the false beard will come off easier.
Uh-huh. And you know, it's a funny thing.
Yeah? What is?
If Small didn't have to be clean-shaven behind that beard of his, he could have made a clean getaway.
Box 13, with the star of Paramount Pictures, Alan Ladd, as Dan Holliday.
Box 13, care of Star Times. They said my son was killed in a drunken brawl. I know he wasn't. He was a good boy. He was murdered. Why, I don't know. If you come to 733 Winship Avenue...
If you'll come to 733 Winship Avenue any time and listen to my story, I'll be grateful to you forever. Mrs. Catherine Daly. And that was the letter to Box 13. Just a few lines. But, brother, what those few lines led to.
And now, back to Box 13.
I get some funny letters through Box 13. Some don't mean a thing. Others are from people who answer all the ads. But this one from Mrs. Catherine Daly, it had a real ring to it. I get so I can spot the letters from cranks and curiosity hunters. They're full of big phrases. It's the simple ones that count, like Susie said.
Well, it's short, Mr. Holliday.
Uh-huh.
What are you going to do about it?
Well, what would you do, Susie?
Well...
You know, Susie, I don't know how you manage to get right to the point of things so quickly.
Oh, it's easy.
Okay, you talked me into it. I don't know what I'd do without you.
I try to make myself indisposable.
The word, Susie, is indispensable.
What's the difference?
None, I guess. All right, Susie, I'm on my way to 733 Winship Avenue. Mrs. Catherine Daly was a little woman, maybe about 50, 60. It was difficult to tell because gray hair was pushing hard against the brown. It was her eyes that got me. Maybe not too long ago they'd been able to smile. But now they were dead. Lifeless. Something had been taken away from well, inside. She led the way to a little living room, furnished cheaply but neatly. She sat down, pointed to a chair for me, and then...
Are you serious about that advertisement, Mr. Holliday?
Well, yes, I am, Mrs. Daly.
I haven't any money. That is not much. I can afford something, if it's not a whole lot.
Oh, now, look, Mrs. Daly, I'm a writer, and sometimes Box 13 leads me to a good plot. You see, I don't take money because I get paid very well for the stories I get. You see, I used to be a newspaper reporter.
Newspaper reporter?
Anything wrong with that, Mrs. Daly?
Arthur, my son, he was a reporter.
Oh? What paper?
The Evening Record.
Your letter said that your son was killed.
He was. They said he was drunk, that he got into a fight in a cheap saloon. Arthur was never drunk in his life, and he hated fighting.
That his picture on the table?
Yes.
In uniform. That's the Distinguished Service Cross, isn't it?
Yes.
Okay, Mrs. Daly, start from the beginning. Tell me how you want me to help.
I'm sure Arthur was murdered.
Murder's a tough word, Mrs. Daly. Tough to say and tough to prove.
But for a week before he was killed, he kept telling me that we could get out of this house soon, that he was going to make a name as a reporter.
But he didn't tell you why?
No. Then, the night he was killed, he got a phone call.
From whom?
I don't know. He hurried out, and the next time I saw him was when they asked me to come down and identify him.
That's as much as you can tell me.
It's every word.
Mrs. Daly, this may sound brutal, but your son's dead now. Why would you rather have it said he was murdered?
I want to show everyone he couldn't have died in that cheap, shoddy way.
Well, that was that. I believed her. Maybe it was the way she talked. Maybe it was her eyes. I don't know. Anyway, I left her house with nothing to go on but what she had told me, and that was little enough. Just that he was on to something would make a name for him as a reporter. Anyway, I went to see what Lieutenant Kling knew about it.
About what, Holiday?
About the kid that got killed in the saloon brawl.
Well, that's what the records show.
They show anything else?
No, they don't.
You know, I like you.
Thanks. You can have the next dance.
I'm serious.
Okay, so you're serious. What about?
You're not satisfied with the Daly case either.
What makes you think I'm not?
Just the way you talk. You don't believe it's right.
I believe what the witnesses in that dive said. The Daly kid got drunk. Somebody said something to the girl he was with. Nothing bad, but Daly got mad and started swinging.
And?
And he ended up in the red.
You didn't arrest anybody?
Look, we get a dozen calls a night from down at the hill, places like that. Somebody's always getting pushed around, roughed up, killed. Some of the things don't even hit the newspapers. Run-of-the-mill stuff.
Sure. But look, Kling, what kind of guys get killed in places like that? Bums, winos, characters who hang out in those joints. But not a kid like Daly. And you're an honest cop.
What was that crack for?
For a compliment. The Daly thing bothers you because you know as well as I do that something's wrong about it.
Then you tell me.
I'll try. Later.
Now, look, Holiday, I'm not on the case anymore. Homicide's got enough to do without running down a fight in a saloon. But,
But what?
But, I don't like it, you're right.
I knew I liked you.
Okay, I'll marry you in the morning. The place you want is 183 River Street.
Oh, nice neighborhood.
Right. The cops go in quartets down there.
Thanks. See you later.
And for the love of Mike, don't end up on the meat wagon like Daly did.
Kling was right. It wasn't a neighborhood to raise kids or anything else. And the place I wanted was called the Riverview. Fancy name. Oh, a great place. I stepped over a couple of boarders spending the night on the doorstep and walked inside. There was a tinny piano played by a guy mechanically banging out a tune that its own composer wouldn't have recognized. The bar was set at the back facing the door. I went over to it. The bartender took a long, good look at me. I must have looked strange. I was wearing a necktie and a shirt. He walked over.
Yeah? What's with, bud?
How are you?
Awful. You?
Practically dead.
Okay. Now that we know each other, what's on your mind?
What do you got to drink?
Arsenic? Want some?
Straight. Water on the side.
Funny man, ain't you?
Sure.
Look, what do you want?
A drink, maybe?
No, you don't. That suit you got on cost maybe $150. The tie, $5. Any cookie comes in here dressed like you don't want a drink.
All right. You win.
Swell. Slumming, huh?
No, looking.
For what?
Last week there was a fight in here. A kid got killed. Arthur Daly.
I didn't see nothing. My back was turned.
Did you ever see the girl who was with Daly?
I told you I didn't see nothing.
Oh. All through the fight, you just kept your back turned.
Yeah, I hate fights. Can't stand the sight of blood.
That what you told the police?
Same thing.
Who are the witnesses?
Look, when a fight starts in here, there ain't no witnesses. Everybody's blind.
That makes it easy.
You a friend of this Daly character?
Yeah, a good friend.
Uh-huh. I still don't know nothing. Now blow, mister. Out. Get it out.
He knew something, all right. But he was clammed up tight. I left and walked up the street. I was close to the spot where I'd parked my car when I heard something. I stopped. Somebody was tailing me, following me from the saloon. Okay, somebody didn't like me nosing around. I walked past my car. Just ahead of me was an alley, and pulling out of the alley was a truck. I walked a little faster. I got to the alley, skirted around back of the truck so my trailer would lose me for a couple of seconds. Then I stepped inside a doorway. It was dark. The truck pulled away. I waited. Then I heard the steps. He didn't know where I'd gone. But if he was going to pick me up again, he'd have to pass the doorway where I waited for him.
Come here. Oh, let
Oh, you hurt me.
Shut up.
Oh, please, mister, I ain't no crook. I wasn't going to put this thing on you.
What's the idea of tailing me?
I heard you talking to barkeep back there. I wanted to talk to you, honest, that's all.
You could have caught up with me before this.
Gee, mister, I didn't want anybody to see me, honest.
All right, talk.
Oh. You want to know something, huh?
Come on. What do you want to say?
Well, honest, I might get in trouble. Look, I got to know I'll get something out of this, eh?
Still what you've got, and we'll see how much it's worth.
Maybe a $5?
Maybe. Go on, talk.
Look, I could get in bad trouble.
You are right now.
Oh, all right. Oh, all right, make it a $5.
What do you know about Arthur Daly?
I saw the fight. I saw the whole thing.
Did you tell the police?
Me? I don't get nothing to do with the cops.
All right, tell me.
This guy that was bumped, he didn't start the fight.
Who did?
A pug. Ex-pug named Billy Connor. The Daly guy didn't have nothing to do with starting it. It was a frame.
Was Daly drunk?
No, he had one drink. The girl slipped something in it. I saw her. She was a good looker, so I was watching her.
Do you know her?
Me? Me know a dame like that? Nah.
All right, well, here's your $5. Now keep your mouth shut, understand?
Oh, sure. Maybe you'd like to know something else, huh?
What?
Oh, mister, it ought to be worth something.
All right, here.
Oh, thanks. You ain't been out of the joint down the street more than a couple of seconds when the barkeep goes to the phone.
So?
I heard him tell somebody that you was nosing around. Mister, something tells me that you're in bad trouble right now.
And now, back to Box 13 with Alan Ladd as Dan Holliday.
Well, I had a few facts now. First, Daly knew something that might have got him killed. Second, the girl who was with him put something in his drink so he'd look drunk. Third, an ex-pug named Billy Connor started the fight. Why? The answer to that would put me on first base. So I asked around a little and found out that Billy Connor, a third-rate fighter down at the heels, suddenly came into money. And right after the fight in the saloon, I found him in a second-rate nightclub.
You the guy that wants to see me?
If you're Billy Connor, I'm the guy.
Who are you?
Knowing that won't make any prettier.
You're a smart boy, huh?
Maybe. But you're not acting smart.
What are you talking about?
You're making too much splash, Connor. The boss doesn't like it. People might start asking questions about the money. The money you got for killing Daly.
Me? Oh, no, I just started the fight. Then I ducked. Somebody else banged his head for him, not me.
Ah, that's the way it was, huh?
Sure, you know. Who are you, anyway?
Forget it, Connor.
Wait a minute, fella. Why'd you say that's the way it was? Didn't you know?
Sure I knew.
You ain't from them.
From whom?
You dirty sneak. You a copper?
Maybe. Think it over, Connor. Hard. I left him standing there with his mouth open. I thought I'd found out what I wanted to know. But Kling told me...
Doesn't mean a thing. You can't prove anything, Holliday.
What if I get proof?
How?
You've got the name and address of the girl Daly was with the night he was killed.
And you want him, is that it? You could get hurt.
Meaning you won't give me the girl's name?
Meaning that if I do, you're on your own.
I'll take that chance. Do I get a name and address?
Eileen Simmons, 4674 Roberts Drive. And I hope you get more out of her than we did.
I hope so, too. I didn't like walking up a blind alley with murder at my back and maybe in front of me. I got to the girl's home, a boarding house in the shabby section, and took a look at the mailboxes downstairs. While I was walking up to her flat, something tingled the back of my neck. Something that screamed a warning. I got to her flat. She didn't answer. Then I smelled it. Gas. I stooped down, and one look at the crack between the door and the sill was enough. It was stuffed with newspapers. There was only one thing to do. Eileen Simmons wasn't going to talk to anybody. The room was heavy with gas. The window I broke let in some air. Scared faces stared in at the door. I smashed open, then I yelled at them. You call the police. Ask for Lieutenant Kling. Go on, hurry. I took a quick look around before I left. In one closet was a fur coat. And from what I knew about fur, this one took money to buy. It had her initials embroidered in the lining. But it didn't fit with the cheap flat. Well, I thought it was about time to make a trip to the Evening Record, where Daly worked as a reporter. Some of the boys knew me, so it was easy to get to talk to Daly's editor.
I don't know, Holliday. All I know is that Daly promised me a big story. Something he was working on.
Now, look, Charlie. Any idea what it was?
None. The kid was close-mouthed.
Oh, but you must have some idea. Didn't he give you any hint?
Just that it was big and would blow off the top of the building when we printed it.
How long did he work for you?
Oh, about 6 months, no more.
What big assignments did you give him?
None. Routine stuff. He didn't have enough experience. Just out of journalism college when the war broke. Went through it. Then served at the war trials in Germany.
And in the 6 months with you, there wasn't anything important enough to get him killed, huh?
No, there wasn't. Oh, let's see. We sent him on a routine assignment to San Carlito and...
San Carlito? What's that?
Just one of those little islands in the West Indies. The paper's doing a series on Latin American neighbors, and we...
Anything there that might have been the big story?
You mean what he was talking about?
Yeah, that's it. How long after he got back did he begin to talk about the something big?
Hey, just about the same day he walked in here.
Where's his desk?
Just outside this office.
Oh. All his stuff in there?
Most of it. We were going to send it to his mother, but, well, you know how things are. It was too soon. We figured we'd wait.
Come on, let's take a look.
Just the usual stuff.
What are these photographs?
Never saw them before.
Full face, profiles of men. You know them?
Not from Adam.
Oh, Charlie, can I have these?
Well, I don't know, Holliday.
One ex-newspaper man to an editor. Come on, let me have them.
Okay. I didn't see you take them.
Thanks. Now, mind if I go through the rest of your stuff?
No, help yourself. I'll be at my desk.
Right. I went through Daly's papers. There was one little notebook with an entry in it that read, "Got to be careful, never be alone. They won't dare make a try for me unless I'm alone. I've got proof on film, photos of the men I recognized." Okay, so Daly's notebook gave me another lead. But where to? Well, maybe Daly's mother would know. I looked at my watch, but it was after midnight, so I figured it was too late to see her, and I decided to wait until morning. I wish I'd have gone right then and there. The next morning, I went to see Daly's mother, and I found her in the middle of an excited bunch of neighbors. When I got her alone, she told me what was up.
There were burglars. They ransacked Arthur's room.
Well, let's take a look.
But there's nothing missing.
Well, let's look anyway.
They went through all the drawers.
You didn't hear them?
No, I slept right through it.
Uh-huh. Mrs. Daly, what could they have wanted?
I don't know. There's nothing of value here.
Look, when Arthur came back from San Carlito, did he bring anything with him?
Why, I don't think so.
A camera, maybe?
His own, but he took that with him when he went.
Now think hard, Mrs. Daly. Did he take any film out of that camera when he got back?
I think he did. Yes, I remember. He hurried out with some film to have it developed.
Where is it?
I don't know.
Did he get it back from the shop where he took it?
I don't think so. I think he'd have shown them to me if he had.
And the roll of film he took out of his camera is still in the shop. It must be. Mrs. Daly, we've got to find a check for that film. The kind you get when you leave film to be developed. Come on, let's look. We looked and looked and looked. No check. Began to seem as though whoever ransacked the room found the check, and if he had, well, the thing was over. After half an hour, we gave up. But there was still one more thing to find out. Mrs. Daly, would you mind taking a look at these photographs? Do you know any of these men?
Why, I'm not sure. They look familiar, but... His scrapbook, the one he brought back from the war. There are pictures like those in the scrapbook.
Well, show it to me, will you?
It's in my room, right next door. Here it is.
Here they are, the pictures.
But I don't see.
I think I do. But I'm afraid to believe it. Look, Mrs. Daly, whatever you do, stay with your neighbors. Don't be alone for a minute. I left the house, and the idea I had was buzzing around inside my head. If I was right, then the whole thing was fantastic. But the pieces began to fit together. Maybe I was thinking too hard. I didn't see the big black car that turned down the corner. I didn't see it until I was almost staring between its headlights. I jumped back and up, and the fenders of the car took the skin off my legs, and the car roared away. That big black buggy had my name for a license plate. It would have looked just like an accident. But it told me something. That whoever was doing the dirty work didn't have the check for the film. Because the proof of what Daly knew was on that film. And if Mr. Accident Maker had it, he wouldn't have risked another accident. I called Kling, got him on the phone.
What do you want me to do?
Check every photo shop in the city for a roll of film mailed just before Daly was killed.
How do you know he mailed it?
Because he wouldn't have been fool enough to take it to a photo shop. He knew they were tailing him, waiting to grab that film. So he mailed it, with a note that he'd called for it.
Okay, I'll pick up the film, if I can find it.
Oh, no, Kling, don't pick it up, please.
But you just said you
Kling,
want...
tell me where it is, call my office, and I'll pick it up.
Look, you're asking for a crepe wreath in your door. If those babies are what you say, they'll cut you little pieces.
You want them, don't you?
Sure, but I don't...
The only way to get them is to make them come after that film. And they won't call it headquarters for it, Kling. But they will try to get it from me. I waited. Finally, Kling gave me the word. I picked up the film and printed the little finishing shop. Kling had given orders that I was to have it. I got in my car, looked in the rear vision mirror, and saw a big black sedan pull in behind me. This was it. I couldn't spot Kling, and the squad car he said would be handy. Maybe something held it up. I didn't know. I got to my apartment. The sedan pulled up behind me and parked. I walked up to my apartment, went over to the window, and saw a man get out of the sedan. He walked slowly and disappeared into my apartment building. I sat down with the film and prints burning a hole in my pocket. Then... Who is it?
Mr. Holliday, I'd like to talk to you.
I took one more look out of the window. The street was empty except for the sedan. No squad car, no Kling. Brother, if ever I wanted to see that big guy, it was now. I walked to the door.
Mr. Holliday?
Uh-huh. Who are you?
My name is, we'll say Stephen.
Okay, you're Mr. Stephen. So what?
I shall be brief. You have a roll of film and some prints. I am a camera enthusiast. I shall pay you a good price for the film.
How much?
You're going to be reasonable. That's fine. Shall we say 10,000?
That's big money for a strip of celluloid.
I am very enthusiastic about photography.
You know, I like pictures myself. Especially pictures of some nice little Nazis who got out of Germany with a lot of money.
Oh? You guessed, huh?
Yeah, but Daly wasn't guessing when he recognized them in San Carlito. He wasn't guessing that San Carlito's a little island with lots of deserted coastline. Easy to land on.
Yes, very handy.
And they paid well to escape the trials in Nuremberg.
You just talked yourself out of $10,000.
Oh, now that's very funny. You would have killed me anyway, as you killed Daly to keep him from spreading the story.
You're so right. Now, Mr. Holliday.
Oh, that gun didn't look nice. He had it right at my head. I sat still. Stephen came slowly toward me. The black hole in the barrel of his gun looked like the business end of a cannon. Then...
Get the floor, Holliday, come!
Kling, at this particular minute, you're the most beautiful thing in the world.
Then what happened, Mr. Holliday?
Well, at that moment, Susie, Lieutenant Kling landed and took over.
Sorry I drew it so close, Holiday, but I had to let Stefan talk a while.
Yeah. But by the way, where was that squad car?
Well, there wasn't any. The squad car would have scared Stefan away. I had to make it look safe. Boys and I were right next door. Had been for an hour.
No, he tells me.
It's up to the Federals now. We're clean on this end.
Gee, I sure... Oh, Mr. Holliday, you might have been killed.
Oh, it's okay now, Susie. It's all over.
But you might have been killed. And I like this job so much. What'd I say?
Very funny, Kling. Nothing, Susie, nothing. Good night.
Next week, same time, Alan Ladd stars as Dan Holliday in Box 13. Alan Ladd appears through the courtesy of Paramount Pictures and may currently be seen in Wild Harvest. Box 13 is directed by Richard Sandville with original story by Russell Hughes and original music composed and conducted by Rudy Schrager. The part of Susie is played by Sylvia Picker and Lieutenant Kling by Edmund MacDonald. This is a Mayfair production.
Hello, Yukon 28209. Yes, this is Candy Matson.
The National Broadcasting Company presents Candy Matson, Yukon 28209. Ladies and gentlemen, before we commence tonight's Candy Matson story, it's a very great pleasure to welcome as our distinguished guest this evening the widely read radio columnist of the San Francisco Examiner, who conducts his own radio column under the title Day and Night with Radio and Television, Mr. Dwight Newton.
Thank you, Dudley Manlove. Recently, I conducted a popularity poll to determine our readers' favorite radio program originating in San Francisco. Heading the list, and a top-heavy favorite, was your Candy Matson program. In behalf of the Examiner readers who participated in the poll, I am happy to present this award, which reads as follows. 1950 San Francisco Examiner Favorite Program Award. This certifies that readers of the San Francisco Examiner have voted Candy Matson their favorite local radio program in a poll conducted by the undersigned writer of the column Day and Night with Radio and Television. Congratulations to all who participate on the Candy Matson program, to Monty Masters, who writes and directs it, and to you, Natalie Masters, the Candy Matson star.
Thank you, Dwight Newton. We're doubly proud of this award tonight because next week's program will mark Candy Matson's first birthday. From all of us here at NBC in San Francisco to Dwight Newton, the San Francisco Examiner, and most of all, you, the listeners, who've made this award possible, our very sincere thanks.
We continue now with Candy Matson, Yukon 28209.
Just a moment, I'll be right there. How do you do?
You are Candy Matson, aren't you?
Yes, that's right. And who are you?
Willa Gray.
Come in, won't you, Willa? Is something I can do for you?
I don't quite know how to explain this, but it's my brother.
Your brother?
Maybe you've heard of him, Miss Matson. Gordon Gray.
Why, sure, the songwriter?
That's right.
Who doesn't know him? He's written almost as many hit songs as Irving Berlin. What about him, Willa?
Well, like many people I know, Gordon is a crime student for relaxation. He reads all the books, listens to all the radio programs, and naturally he's heard and read a great deal about you.
Well, I'm flattered.
When I suggested talking to you, he agreed immediately.
Talking to me, Willa? What about?
Well, it's his mental condition, Miss Matson. He's suddenly become extremely childish. All day long he sits at the piano playing nothing but uncoordinated notes.
Are you sure they're uncoordinated, or is it some new style he's trying to develop?
Miss Matson, you're familiar with Gordon's work. Songs like Lazy Old June, The Tenderness of You. What he's doing now is just musical gibberish.
How well I remember lazy old June. I was just a kid in high school at the time. Oh. Are you living with your brother, Willa?
No, I'm not. Just as well, too. I don't think I could take it.
Why do you say that?
These foolish notes he plays. He says he's working on a thing to be called Symphony of Death. That someone is going to kill him.
What? Now you've got me interested.
I hope so, Miss Matson. He won't talk to me. Every time I drop by, Gordon just sits at the piano, laughing horribly, and playing these kindergarten notes. As I said, he's a great fan of yours. Won't you go and just speak to my brother?
Sure, I'll see him. Gordon Gray with a shattered mind. What a pity if true. Think of all the jukeboxes that would have to settle for promissory notes.
Candy Matson, San Francisco's well-known gal private investigator. Merely trying to get her penthouse on Telegraph Hill cleaned, and she walks into a stack of memories. Memories created by a songwriter named Gordon Gray. Symphony of Death. It never became a popular composition, but it will always be on Candy's all-time hit parade. A tune she'll never forget. Because it brought about a very strange chain of events and a fascinating finish to the entire story. Oh, and the in-between department? Well, here she is, the gal who never suffers from gaposis, Candy Matson.
When I went into the cold, hard world to make a living for myself, Gordon Gray was an American institution. That's when he wrote his never-to-be-forgotten The Rhapsody of You. I'd had no idea that Gray was in San Francisco. The last I'd heard he was in New York, working on the score of a brand new musical. So when his sister confronted me like that, naturally, I was caught a bit off base. She wrote Gordon's address for me, and like the rabbity little elf she seemed, ducked out as abruptly as she came. Then I dressed, drove over to an apartment house on Powell Street, just down from the family club. I pressed the button. It blew an ugly little noise back at me. I entered, went up the stairs to 221. The door opened.
Yeah?
Mr. Gray?
Yes, that's right.
I didn't call you on the phone. I thought I'd just more or less barge in on you. I'm Candy Matson.
Candy Matson. Do come in. Oh, please, do come in.
Thank you.
So, my little sister finally got up enough gumption to call you.
Yes, she came by this afternoon. We had quite a nice little chat.
A nice chat. With my sister? Impossible. The little mouse doesn't know how to put one word after another. Oh, here. Do sit down, won't you? Place is a mess. I've got manuscript all over the floor, the highboy, the whatnot, everywhere. Highball? Pot of sherry?
Thank you. No, not right at the moment.
As you say.
I beg your pardon?
It's nothing, really. I'm just thinking of my monstrous joke. I'm going to be killed, you know.
Yes, so your sister said.
Oh.
Do you mind?
My sister. Young. She's young enough to marry a grandchild. Do you know what? She thinks I'm slipping my cable.
Do you mind if I call you Gordon?
I'd love it. Providing I can call you Candy.
I'd despise myself in the AM if you didn't.
Candy, you're just as delightful as I had you pictured.
Thanks, Gordon. Now, frankly, what do you think? Are you slipping your cable?
Of all the idiotic... Of course not.
Willa seems convinced you are.
Willa's a mere babe, a suckling.
What about this new thing you're working on, Gordon, this Symphony of Death?
She told you about that, too, huh? That's part of my monstrous joke, Candy.
Want to confide in me? Let me know what this joke is?
I don't mind in the least. You have brains. Not many people have brains in this world, Candy, but you do. And because you have brains, I'm going to give you a challenge.
Okay, let me have it.
Oh, no. The challenge will only come after he kills me.
He? Who are you referring to, Gordon?
That's part of the challenge, Candy.
I see. Do you really believe that someone's out to kill you?
But of course. That's the delicious part of the whole thing. I'm going to be killed. It can't be avoided. That's why I'm writing my Symphony of Death.
Oh, sure. Now I see.
You're making fun of me, Candy.
No, I'm not, Gordon, really. It's just that, well, I've never met anyone who was happy about the prospect of getting knocked off.
I don't mind, actually. I've lived a full life. I've seen the world, made lots of money. I've been wined and dined by people in all walks of life. My music will live after me. That's all I care about.
Now I can understand.
There. You see, that's why I like you. You have brains. Shall I play my new composition for you?
If you like.
Very well. As you will discover after I'm dead. It's all part of my monstrous joke. Excuse me. Pay no attention to the technique, Candy, my dear. My fingers aren't quite as supple as they used to be. There. What do you think of it?
Gordon, I think it's a great, monstrous joke.
I knew you'd see it. It's part of the joke. You're really sharp. I knew it. That's part of the joke, and you can see it.
You pay wonderful compliments, Gordon. Thank you. But don't you think this Symphony of Death is a complete departure from your usual style? From something like, well, the Rhapsody of You, for instance?
Certainly. It's because of him. I had to write something dedicated to him, didn't I?
Well, to scramble a dangling participle, who's him?
The man who's going to kill me.
As I left, I tried to shake the picture of a cackling man playing one-fingered doodles on the keyboard, but I couldn't. The impression was indelible. When I arrived home, I was greeted by the sight of a familiar auto parked out in front. It was my number one boy, Inspector Ray Mellard of San Francisco Homicide. I invited him up to sit a spell and chew the fat.
What's new, Cupcake? I haven't seen you for several days. Seems like weeks.
Ha! A compliment. That means you're after something.
I am not. Can't I ever say something nice without you misconstruing?
Oh, okay. Compliment accepted. Good. What brings you around here this time of day, Mellard, dear? Aren't you on duty?
That's the trouble. I've been on duty for almost 48 hours straight. I had to take a little breather for myself.
Working on a deal?
Yeah, a hot one. No leads, no clues, no nothing.
For a slight consideration, I might be inclined to help you crack the case, Sherlock.
By the way, what are you working on?
Nothing but hope and what's left of the bank account.
You mean to say the great Lady Private Eye is temporarily at liberty?
I mean to say just exactly that.
Well, if I'm any judge of your business ability, you've got enough money tucked away to buy the Philadelphia Athletics from Connie Mack. What do you do with all your loot, Candy?
Sew it in hair mattresses and sleep on it. Oh, excuse me a moment, Mellard.
Sure, go right ahead.
Oh, hello, Willa. I didn't expect to see you so soon.
I hope you won't think me a nuisance, but I just had to see you.
I understand. Come in.
No, thanks. You've been to see Gordon. I just spoke with him on the phone, and he told me.
Yes, that's right.
What do you think, Miss Matson?
Very sad, Willa. How long has he been like this?
Just a week or so. He flew in from New York, and I could see the change in him right away.
How long ago did he leave for New York?
He left Hollywood for New York last month.
Was he all right then?
Oh, yes, just fine. He seemed so happy. He just finished writing the music for the new show in the East. But when he got there, the backers, as they say in show business, told him the music was no good. He said he'd return to the coast and redo it. But instead of going back to Hollywood, he came here, took that apartment on Powell Street, and he's been holed up there ever since.
Do you think being told his music was no good had anything to do with his present condition?
Oh, I'm sure of it, Miss Matson. He's always been such a sensitive person.
No, Willa. I've known several people who snapped momentarily.